Nothing yet? Okay, that's not good. Let's try. Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3. We good? I'll wait till the chat loads here. Looks like I'm seeing a bar here on the screen. We have anything yet? Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1. All good? Okay, good. All right, good. I'm glad I need another run at it. I'll tell you what. This has been a frustrating stream to set up for. I had this stream set up. Now that we have the sound back here. The reason the sound wasn't working, the reason things look a little different here. So I get into the Streamlabs here. Everything seems to be working. And game wraps up. Like, okay, let's open this up and start it up. Open this program up, and it's like, who are you? Like, I got to log in. I got to create an account. Got to start over. It's like, why? So, okay, I do apologize for that. It showed sound on this, but it did not show it on the audio input here. So hopefully we should be good now. Okay, and let me test. Okay, well, let's make sure that this is working too. Let's make sure the audio of this works. Let me know if you hear this. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think that'll work. It looks like that showed up on the banner there too. Okay. All right, we're good? Good. Okay. So okay, we'll just forget the first part of the stream here, and we'll jump right back into it. Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Brock Beard from lastcar.info. Welcome to the first postseason episode of Behind the Wall, about a month after the conclusion of the NASCAR season with the Cup Series action in Phoenix. The awards have been given out, the certificates have been printed, and we're down to the holiday season right now. Hope you all are having a great Christmas and holiday season here, whatever you celebrate out here. Yeah, we're going to do something a little different here. We're going back to doing a live stream watch-along here. Excuse me. And yeah, so as chosen by our members of our Patreon, and big thanks to those of you that voted in there, we're going to be doing the 2008 Gatorade Duels, and we will be using the video that's on Voti's channel, Voti being one of the real rising stars in terms of the NASCAR archiving world this year, joining the likes of Dave W. and so many of these other channels that have done great stuff. In fact, Dave had a great stream this weekend of some videos from 2001 very much enjoyed checking out, so definitely check out his channel if you haven't. And with Voti's channel, definitely make sure you drop him a subscription here as well, because he's been generating a ton of great content that he saved from back then as well. So we're going to be watching his version of the video here. 2 hours, 45 minutes, 57 seconds. We'll get started on that here shortly. Yeah, we come down just after the conclusion of the Bills game here tonight. For those of you watching this a bit later here, unfortunately, the Bills come up short 44-42 against the Rams. Should have not let them get out to that big of a lead at the beginning of the half there. But a spirited rally in the second half. Hopefully that carries them on to a much better game against the very intimidating Lions team next week. I think that's going to be a hell of a matchup. And so we will find out. So we are going to be doing the stream tonight. Big thanks to everybody that's suggested this one. We're going to, yes, if somebody actually, yeah, it's a good mention to mention the other channel. I can pull that up there for you. And we'll pull that up. Let me mute this here so you don't hear me in stereo. There we go. There we go. There's Voti's channel there. So definitely make sure you drop him a subscription on there. He just put up the 2009 Daytona 500 earlier today, so there is some more content on that. Let me close that up. We'll make sure this gets up here. Okay, there we go. I can already hear the audio on this, so we'll do that too. Show races and yeah, I'm not sure, again, as to J Sprague 24 asking about streaming right now, show races and dodge the fun, please. I have no idea what the situation is. I've just tried it on my own here. I don't really do too many of these here, so I don't know anything on that, but I would love to see more content on Dave's there, because I know his streams, I think I mentioned it before. I try to remember if I mentioned it even before the microphone wasn't working here. But yeah, he did a tremendous content here from 2001 this weekend. Some great, some stuff that I'd seen and a lot of stuff that I had not seen. The old race day programming there too, which was very much enjoyable. Dave W. JZ0357. That's the other channel. I'll have somebody else drop that in the chat there as well, so I can kind of get rolling on this here in a little bit. So for the stream tonight, again, we're going to be talking about the 2008 duels, like we do with a lot of the other classic races here that we've done on the show here, at least not too many of them in the past. I'd like to kind of go a little bit into the history of the race, kind of set the stage for you there based on what was the results from the race there. I'm trying to get the qualifying results here so I can look at it there. So the 2008 Daytona 500, first and foremost, the 50th anniversary year of the Great American Race. A lot of anticipation coming into this because this was also the first Daytona 500 to run NASCAR's Car of Tomorrow. And a lot of questions about how the car was going to be handling on the super speedways. It had been introduced, of course, the previous year at Bristol and a part-time schedule through 2007. In fact, it had also been run on a super speedway, being run at the sister track in Talladega that fall. That was a race won by Jeff Gordon with a last lap pass. So some excitement about exactly how this car was going to be handling at Daytona for the first time. Jimmy McMurray won the last Daytona race in July of 2007 for the Roush Fenway effort and pulled off a photo finish there with Kyle Busch. Hopefully, there was going to be just as much excitement this time around here. No shortage of storylines throughout the field. Of course, this was the first year that Dale Earnhardt Jr. drove for Hendrick Motorsports after he left DEI in 2007. You will see the DEI team here in 2008, now with Mark Martin driving after the collapse of Ginn Racing in 2007. Already kind of the merging and combining and reorganization of teams that happened over those years was already in full swing by this point. But we did have more cars than entrants, more entrants than starting spots for the Daytona 500 that year. So that was definitely going to be setting the stage for a very interesting Daytona 500. Among the other entrants in the field was Jacques Villeneuve, who is attempting to go full-time into the Cup Series in 2008. However, when he was driving for Bill Davis Racing, he did not have a sponsor coming into this race. He did make his Cup Series debut, I believe it was, in the Talladega race the previous fall, which raised a lot of eyebrows at the time. There were a lot of concerns about what he was going to do, and especially having a driver with, again, tons of open wheel experience and a Formula One world champion, but not being a very experienced NASCAR driver out there and seeing what he can do. He ended up actually qualifying very well with the impound rules that were in place at the time for Bill Davis, and ended up dropping to the back of the field at the start. Wasn't really a factor in a lot of the craziness that happened in that particular Talladega race. But here he is in this one, attempting to qualify for the Daytona 500 here as well. Tom Rowan also mentioning, yes, this was the 60th anniversary of NASCAR. You'll notice on a lot of these cars a little tannish, brownish logo on the A-pillar of each of the cars in the field. That was, again, recognizing that. So, of course, coming off the 75th anniversary not too long ago here, currently, this is going back to the 60th anniversary from that there as well. But, again, a very big entry list. Stanton Barrett was among the other entries there, sponsored by NOS Energy Drink. You had Front Row Motorsports in the very early stages of their career with John Andretti driving for them. Michael Waltrip and the Michael Waltrip Racing stable in their second year of full-time operations out there. One thing that was really cool with Michael Waltrip in this one, he had already qualified outside pole for the Daytona 500 leading into this, meaning he'll lead the field for the second duel here. He ran gold rims, like gold, plated, or, I'm sure just like a brass appearing rim on his car there. I'm trying to remember if it was for all the MWR cars. It might have been. But I know for sure it was on his at the start of the Daytona 500 to, of course, celebrate the golden anniversary of the Daytona 500. I don't believe he ran them in this one. I know they always ran those regular chrome rims on the MWR cars, so you'll see those here as well. Yeah, and also, in fact, in a personal note here as well, this was the first Daytona 500 Speed Weeks where I was actually doing a starting grid video. For me in my own personal life, I had kicked around ideas about maybe doing something like that here on YouTube and trying to figure out how, the classic ones have been done, like a slideshow and so forth. I had taken a Photoshop class around this time at the local community college, as I had graduated from college a couple years before, and was working at retail at the time. and just trying to figure out like what, what kind of thing to work on. And yeah, kind of had this idea going. So I said, okay, well, like, Daytona's coming up here in 2008. Let's take some note on what happens in the storylines there. And then, of course, the video that's on this channel here was the result of that. So if you want to get a little bit of a spoiler alert there, the actual starting lineup for the Daytona 500 that year, that was what the result was. So pretty much the last time I've watched this all the way through was that time there, watching it live and taking notes and preparing for doing the starting grid video that was posted on this channel, and really was kind of my first step towards trying something different there too. So it's an interesting race. It's interesting that this ended up getting kind of picked by the Patreon there. We had some interesting views on this, and we're going to go ahead and jump into that here in just a moment. So yeah, we'll go ahead and talk about that. Yeah, see, I'm already feeling even older seeing some of the other comments here as well from everybody remembering how old they were back at this time here. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and do this tonight. It's top of the hour, probably a good time to go ahead and start. So we'll go ahead and switch over to the second screen. Let's make sure this is working. We'll make sure the audio is working, and we'll get going. Okay, we got this again on Voti's channel, VOTI. I'll adjust the volume here and make sure everything's working right. If it's a little bit too much or any other audio that or any other issues or anything, definitely let me know. And we're going to find out who is going to qualify for the 50th anniversary running of the Great American Race. So let's jump right into it, folks.
Can you get me close enough to be inside of the action? Can you show me all the power of the pride and the passion? Wanna feel the thunder and the thrill of the ride, 'cause I feel alive with speed on my side. Yeah, I wanna be there. NASCAR on speed. Put me right in the middle of the thick of it all. If they don't give me room, well, then I'll give them the wall. I'm gonna smoke my tires when the victory calls. I'm gonna be there, be there. I wanna see my face up on the jumbo screen. Feel the wide.
There we go. That version looks better.
To Daytona International Speedway in the 2008 Gatorade Duel. It's the race to make the race. 150 miles. Stand between some drivers.
I don't know who that artist is that's singing that. That's definitely a throwback. Speed Channel, rest in peace.
For the pre-race ceremonies for the Gatorade Duel at Daytona.
But fun lead-in for sure. The old music on Speed Channel was great.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please rise and remove your hats as the Embry-Riddle Navy ROTC Honor Guard present our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Pastor Corin Lazenby Sr. of New Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church of Daytona Beach offers this afternoon's invocation.
Again, beautiful render here.
God, we
that
thank you,
Voti
Lord, for
posted.
allowing us to be
Very
here
nice.
on another beautiful day. We thank you, Lord, for all the drivers that are represented. We ask, Lord, that you would continue to bless them and their families. I ask, Lord, that you would bless all the teams in which they represent on today. And God, we thank you for these many fans who have come from far and near to be a part of this Gatorade Duel on today. So, God, we ask, Lord, that you would give all the drivers traveling grace as they
A.J.
go on the
Allmendinger
track.
there for Red
We
Bull.
ask, Lord, that no hurt, harm, or
Regan
danger might
Smith
befall any
for
of them.
DEI.
And God, we thank you for the
Morris
United States
Said
of
for
America.
No Fear Racing.
We pray this prayer. It's in your
Ryan
son Jesus'
Newman for
name.
Penske.
And it's for his name's sake. Amen.
Please welcome Julie LaDucer from Port Orange, Florida, as she performs our national anthem.
Please rise from moving at. I'm with you.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave
The images of this track shadowed only by the dreams.
Alrighty.
Dreams that today for some will be put back on the shelf.
I've already brought back in time already, back to this. 2008.
It's the last call, the last chance, the last ticket. It may be Valentine's Day, but check your feelings at the door. It's time to
No,
duel.
I cannot sing that well. I agree. Tires just gas. I'm sure you could be that good. Very good. Yep, Kyle Petty's still there in 2008. Kind of shared the ride in the 45 towards the end. Whoop, this is off kilter. There we go. But yes, I believe his last run, the Daytona 500. I think that was the case. Is the volume okay, everybody? Hopefully it is. Sounds pretty good over here.
It's the Gatorade Duel on speed. Not one, but two no-holds-barred races to set the field for Sunday's golden Daytona 500.
Ah, yes. Two-time Cup Series
We have
champion
8
Jimmy Johnson.
former Daytona 500 winners and 4 Indy 500 winners in the field. But when today's coverage is done, some of them could be on the outside.
Ah, look at the old
looking in.
Darrell Waltrip
There are
car there
stories
on the
that will
grid.
unfold
Fascinating.
on the track
Joe
and
Nemechek,
in the garage.
Furniture Row.
Let's begin with Steve Burns, who is covering how the team to beat has already taken a beating. Steve?
Oh, good catch, Ben. Yep.
Krista, the Hendrick Express
2009
got off to a
first
great
500
start
without
at
a
Speed
Petty
Weeks.
in the
David
field.
Hart Jr. won the Budweiser shootout. Jimmy Johnson captured the pole position the very next day. But yesterday in
Steve
final
Burns.
practice, Dale Jr. brought his car to the garage.
Both Red
And
Bull
before
cars
you
in
know
the
it,
list.
A common problem, an engine problem, was discovered in all 4 Hendrick cars. All 4 pulled their engines out. They will have to go to the rear of the field today. Dick.
Well, 5 of the Toyota drivers have also experienced a similar engine problem, but this is a very, very strange situation in that even within a single team where
Carl
all the
Long in
engines
the
are
field.
alike, not everybody
Sterling
has
Marlin
suffered.
for the Phoenix
so
Racing
2 of the 3
team.
Joe Gibbs drivers are going to have to go to the back of the pack. The third, Kyle Busch, his engine has been perfect. He will take his original starting position.
Yeah, Vickers in the
engine
Dodge. Yeah, I
tuners
think they
are
missed
real nervous.
missed him
Matt
seeing the
Yoakum.
Toyota.
Dick, one of the 11 drivers going to the back isn't the 12 of Ryan Newman. He's the biggest benefactor of everyone's engine woes. Why?
There's a
Because
threat
now
from
he
Joliet,
shuffles
Patrick
all the
Carpentier,
way up
and the
to
second
point
duel
now.
coming up later.
Newman will tell
Jacques
you in the
Villeneuve.
past, he's gone 10 races of winning the pole, not the race, but
David
because he didn't officially
Gilliland
win the
for
pole,
the Yates
keep
team.
an eye on the 12. But a big concern for him and a lot of other people. This is going to be a great test session.
Not quite
to see
Long's
how
last
the
500
tires
attempt.
wear.
Auto
And
Rock
a
and
lot
Racing
of other
94. He
nuances
attempted it
of
the
learning
next year in the
this new
green and yellow
package
car.
for the car
I don't
tomorrow
think he's
today.
attempted it since coming
Krista?
back with MBM, at least not as a
All right,
driver.
thanks,
He is
Matt.
planning
And
to it
high
next year
atop the
with somebody else
Daytona
driving
garage,
next
I
year.
guess you could call it our speed perch. I'm Krista Voda along with Jeff Hammond. And I know it's Valentine's Day, but Jeff, it feels kind of more like Halloween. All these little gremlins have crept into the major team's engine programs.
It really has, but like you say, happy
Aw,
Valentine's Day.
thank you.
And you're right. The feeling down in the garage area right now is somewhat horrifying because of the fact that not only guys inside the top 35, they're kind of concerned about the engines.
I like
but
the
it's
duels
guys
during
on
the day
outside
too.
that are
I
looking
think you
in,
can
trying
see
to
the
race their way in.
looks
Like
much
Boris
closer
said,
to the conditions of the
today,
Daytona
it's really gonna
500.
be one of those
Handling the
nerve-wracking
cars just look better
situations
during the day, I
because
think
a lot
too.
of these guys didn't sleep last
Night races
night.
are spectacular,
Well,
but
and
they're
what's
kind of
amazing
overplayed
is
a
not
little
just
bit,
how the number
especially
of cars that
Daytona.
are going to the rear, but the types of teams we're talking about. Major names.
Probably
that
be
are going
Timmy
to
in the
back of
500,
pack
yeah.
For both duel number 1 and duel number 2, and it's big names. And in duel number 1, we have 7 guys going to the
Yep,
back
Croc
of the
fan,
pack.
thanks for reminding me. Yep, Dale Jarrett's last run in the Daytona 500, the
And
three-time
duel
winner,
number
the
2,
99
also
series
3
champion.
guys. And look at the names.
Ken
You're
Schrader
looking
for
at the
BAM
11,
Racing,
the
yep.
20, the 24.
We still
It's
had BAM Racing a little bit
It
into
really is,
2009
but
as
that's
well.
What makes this thing here so intriguing right now are these
But,
big teams
yeah, that team
are
kinda
having
scaling back a
issues
bit.
and having to respond to it. And some of the guys don't know what to expect. That's where part of that nerve-wracking, horrifying experience is down in the garage area. It's all about the engine builders. They are literally sitting on pins and needles because they know if they've got a problem today, they're probably not going to get it fixed before the 500.
And of course, there's that.
Chad?
And then you've got this little thing called the go or go home, guys. So much drama.
Sweating bullets.
50 years of Daytona, a half-century of bravado and anxiety, the electricity and emotion that has been bottled up for days, weeks, even months is about to explode. Folks,
Morris
the
said that
fuse
the
has been
7-Eleven
lit,
and Soapy No Fear
it's
sponsorship
time
of the 60.
for
There you
those
see the
so magical words. It's time to go
60th
racing.
anniversary
it's time
logo.
for the Duel.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome today's Grand Marshal, the Director of Retail Sales for Pepsi, Mr. Mike Gross, as he delivers the most famous words in motorsports.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, David Gillen in 2010 for the 49 car. I thought they stopped at 09. I guess they did do it in 2010. I don't remember BAM Racing doing it in 2011 when they smoothed the nose out of the cars. You're right, the Larry the Cable Guy, Larry the Cable Guy car.
Great Daytona moments. Larry McReynolds and Mike Joy. Guys, are you ready for a duel?
Thanks, Krista. This is always the most exciting day of all of Speed Weeks. It's not just the anticipation of who will win, but who will get in. We know the top 35 teams in owner points from last year are in the 500 due to this qualifying situation. We know Michael Waltrip will start on the front row, and 3 other drivers, Joe Nemechek, David Rudiman, they're in on speed, and Kurt Busch has first shot at the Champions Provisional. But Larry, that leaves 14 teams for whom this is not just go or go home. This is, do you make the biggest race of the year, or do you fold your tent?
And the thing about it, Mike,
So hard for me to remember this as nostalgic here, but I know for a lot of people it is, for a lot of younger fans.
But yeah, it's who's going to make
so
the
very
500.
exciting.
But think about
it's a little bit
this
different than what we've done from these other watch-alongs in the past.
Season. How would you like to miss the first race of the season? I just know talking to the guys in the garage area, the drivers, they're going to do what they have to do on the racetrack. They'll do what they have to do on pit road. And like Steve, Matt, and Dick talked about, add in the equation of some engine woes and possibly some tire problems. Tension was high this morning in the garage area.
Former winner Dale Jarrett has to try to race his way in. Carl Long whimsically put long shot above the driver's window on his car. The stories all the way throughout the grid. We'll bring them to you as the day goes on. If you have kids, you're familiar with the kids' books and the games, Where's Waldo? We'll take a look down this grandstand and see if you can pick out Where's DW?
I'm down here, Mikey.
Oh, I remember this.
There he is on the flag stand.
They could not get him out of that flag stand.
We miss you terribly. Hurry back.
You just never know where he'll pop up. It's the only way to earn a pass to NASCAR's biggest show. It's the Gatorade Duel, and you are living it on speed.
Yes, I believe that. Yeah, that was the case, Big G, with the 7017 Propensky. One thing you'll definitely notice is the different engine note of the car tomorrow. They just played that montage, great montage for the 2007 and before, and those cars, that distinctive Pitman engine sound, that definitely changed in this race, and you'll notice it being much closer to, well, really what we had all the way through the Gen 6 car.
The nail biter of the year, and here at Daytona Speed Weeks, we've already had enough headlines to fill a year's worth of Speed Weeks volumes.
Yeah, Joe goes there. Yeah, it's too bad for Brent Sherman. I was hoping he'd have a really good career. I thought he was an interesting driver, being he was a military veteran, wasn't he? And just unfortunately didn't shake out there, the 49 car.
Saturday night's Budweiser shootout was pure elation for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He scored a win in his first attempt for his new Hendrick Motorsports team. On Sunday, it was a Hendrick car, defending series champ Jimmy Johnson on the pole. And what a difference a year makes for Michael Waltrip. From barely making the race.
I don't think Mike Joy's going to retire anytime soon, but I mean, whenever he does, it's going to have to be on his own terms, for sure.
The number 88 of Dale Jr. and his Hendrick teammates all changing engines.
You know, I can never tell when it was with Bob Jenkins or any of those guys, too. I mean, Bob stayed in IndyCar broadcasting for years after, like 12 years after he stopped NASCAR, so who knows?
You see the flags flying high on the campers here at Daytona.
Yeah, I love the gold accents on the Daytona wall there, too. Very nice.
Duel number 1. As we do that, let's
yeah, what made it that way, Aaron Copeland? I'm not sure. I think it was just, you know, again, different body style, not as aerodynamic, and the engines must have just been tuned different. I don't know about the, I would assume the exhaust had some role in it with the car tomorrow, but
he's twice crashed out of this
it definitely was a big difference.
Leading to Matt Yoakum.
confidence running high, Dick, in the 88 camp. Moments before
Probably
Daryl
couldn't
Earnhardt
put
Jr.'s
the
climbing
X
into his
pipe
car, he and his
exhaust
cousin
there in
encouraging
these
Tony
cars.
Eury Jr.
Probably is just
were
difference
laughing,
there.
joking around, just showing how calm they are, considering all the issues
J.J.
going on
Gailey
right
for
now
Hall of
with
Fame
their
racing.
engine issues. So today he told me it's really a durability test to see how long it takes Junior, who many consider the most prolific plate racer in NASCAR, to get from the back.
Yeah,
to the
Matt,
front.
I'm with you. 2008 doesn't feel
Tires will
retro to
look
me, but you look at it
how
now,
well
and
the engine will look
it's just a
at
world
the
of
conclusion
difference.
of today's race. Steve?
Well, Matt, Lee Petty won the very first Daytona 500 back in 1959. His son, Richard, became the king and won this race 7 times.
Thank you, Duddlebug. Thank you for enjoying the videos. Got more in the works. Next episode of Rise of the Field Fillers coming together very quickly. I've been working on editing that this weekend, so we'll get that going. I'm planning on having it out this month. So it'll be a matter of, I'd love to have it out this week if I can. It's going to depend on how it's coming.
There's always a sentimental favorite here in Daytona. It might be Kyle.
Wells Fargo paint scheme's underrated for Kyle Petty, too.
Valentine, DW.
Hey, Steve, you know what? I know why these fans get so excited. I know why they feel so excited about being out here. There's nothing like hearing these cars, seeing these cars. I mean, you can feel them coming by even at a pace car speed. This is as good as it gets. I know now why all these folks get up and cheer and raise Cain and have a great time. Here they come by for one to go, and we're going to go green. Next time by, boys.
You just never know where Daryl's going to be. Larry, Mike, as we send it back up to you.
Bean Boy 89, that makes sense. Okay, so yeah, so they wouldn't allow the X pipes, had to go out the right side. That makes sense. That makes sense. It's too bad, but you know, definitely you lose that exhaust note with that change. That would make a lot of sense. Craig Franklin, that would be Jimmy Johnson that won the championship in 2008. Or unless you're talking about the last car championship. I believe that was Nemechek in 2008. Yeah. Oh, I don't want to pull it up on this. Let me pull it up on
what
here.
happened when they were only running 125 miles, teams were able to run the distance without stopping, but there you see 27 cars in this race. The
I am going to have to look it up.
60 laps, 150 miles. The pit window for fuel, 44 to 46 laps, and at every important pit road.
Yes, Joe Nemechek had 3 last place finishes in 2008, driving the number 78 for Furniture Row.
Changed engines. That includes pole sitter Jimmy Johnson. There's Casey Mears in the 5. Dale Earnhardt Jr., A.J. Allmendinger, who had changed earlier.
Yeah, and if you guys have any of your questions during the stream, don't hesitate to go ahead and mention it in the chat there, and I'll fill that in as well. We got about a couple hours here to hang out, so we'll jump in this. If it's too much or not enough, let me know. We'll adjust accordingly.
Ryan Newman in the 12 car was going to start 9th. The 4 cars in front of him had to go to the rear, so now
beautiful camera. Look at how nice the sun glints off these cars.
Not the fastest man in Daytona, but let's say the recipient of the most good fortune. Absolutely.
And had a good race car in practice.
Ryan Newman going on to
sunny skies, not a cloud to be seen.
Newman going on to have a very good speed weeks, and all was said and done.
More grip, and definitely these engines are going to make more horsepower.
The cars enter the 31-degree banking in turn 3. They'll come off 4. Down the 1,200-foot short chute, and then approach the start-finish line in DW.
All right, folks, listen to me. I want to hear some boogity, 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 all right? These guys don't ever get to hear it. There's
First car tomorrow race. Not the first next-gen race, but very similar atmosphere to it, though. Good way to put it, SpongeBob.
Off turn 4. To start the line
First
right
in
down
Daytona,
there,
not the first ever. That'd be Bristol 2007 in the spring race. And it was also run at the Talladega race previous year.
Like I'm in the car. I get my heart pounding. Hold them down. Be nice, Mr. Newman. Be nice, Mr. Newman. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
There we go. Last change at the stripe already with Yaley dropping to the last spot there on the inside line. Daryl's loving it. Why wouldn't you? Fantastic. Yeah, the Domino's Pizza, the Burger King sponsorship on the 00 for Ruderman was great, especially in 07. I thought that car was gorgeous. Domino's one in particular. Really nice scheme.
I want to get the whole, I want to feel them go by at speed.
Ooh, Nemechek sizing up. Ooh, you still have the yellow line rule, but everybody flirting with it down the back straightaway. Nemechek gonna try to cross the nose of Kurt.
Side by side, Daryl, they're going to come to you just about the same way they did last time around.
Oh my God!
Oh, that's actually Kenny Wallace. It's the
You can't
second
believe
one.
what this looks like, and I can't wait to see what it feels like.
Exhilarating.
What a deal! That was awesome.
There you go.
Nemechek led the first lap. Front row Joe.
Oh, now Kenny Wallace getting shaken out.
The explosion of Bobby Kim Racing last year is leading this qualifying race while his teammate Kenny Wallace.
Yeah, the colors are gorgeous, Michael. Exactly. Even in this car, they look great.
In the middle, and the first time by, 5 of the top 6 cars.
There's Montoya. Oh, sucker hole there. He's got, I believe, Jerry Mayfield in the Junior Johnson Midnight Moon car, the second, not Stewart Haas, just the Haas CNC car.
Baby, I gotta have it one more time.
You got it.
Oh, the thunder, the roar, the wind.
All right, Daryl, recess is over. Come join us upstairs.
Fantastic.
Way too much fun.
Very cool. Very cool. Great moment.
For third place.
Whoa, hang on.
That's Brian Vickers in the 83 car off turn 2.
Vickers, I guess, got hooked by Boris, it looked like. Yikes.
Brian Vickers was that car that was 3 wide, way up top. Coming out of turn number 2. And Larry, there just wasn't enough room.
Turn 2 is so treacherous. It's just as wide as all the rest of the racetrack. but the
Yeah,
cars
no, I agree,
lunge
Benjamin.
against
Yeah.
the wall when they come
DW's
off
definitely got the right
banking of
passion
turn
for
2.
it there.
Let's get some more tires on it.
Yep, yeah,
Watch the
Boris to the
83
inside.
on
Paul
the
Menard
outside.
behind him.
It looked
Yeah,
like
just crossed
again,
his
Boris
nose.
said in that 60 car, his car, Boris didn't drive into the left rear quarter panel. His
Exactly,
car
yeah, if they're
lunged
enjoying you
to
that
the
much, yeah.
outside. But
That's
see
what
the
pulls you
rear
in.
left deploy? No
That's what
contact
irks
with
me
the
so much when the broadcasters are just like they got somewhere else to be. Like a race is an exceptional thing. You know, here, Last Bro and I, we only cover like a couple races a year, so it's an event when we do it. And I really try to take as much of it in. And, you know, I know it's different if you're doing it every week, even for half the season. But, you know, you can't lose that. If you lose that, I mean, you're not going to be able to bring anybody
Of the
in.
day comes on lap 3 for Brian Vickers.
Yeah, I love the red rear tires there, SpongeBob. Exactly. Everybody still likes the Red Bull cars. I know that those are a huge demand. It seems like on eBay, anything related to the Red Bull cars or the Cartoon Network cars is always really
We're going to
popular.
show you what happens here to Brian Vickers and to Boris Said right there. Said is right in the middle as they round turns 1 and 2 in the white car.
You can see Vickers gets a heck of a run on the high side through turn 2, and you can see it there just barely gets into the left rear quarter panel, but it doesn't take much at 190 miles per hour.
Reed Sorensen in the 41 got into the back of Paul Menard, but appeared not to suffer any damage.
See if I can fix the chat box. It's a little
Dick
small.
Bergman?
No, but I want to remove it.
Have to race his way into the Daytona 500.
Come
He's
on.
not in the top 35 in owner points. He did make a pit stop. The crew changed 4 tires. There is no apparent damage to the car, but his crew chief, Kevin Hamlin, is working with this driver for the first time. When he tried to talk to him, he was pressing the wrong button. So it took him quite a
Show
while to
platform
communicate until Hamlin
icons.
found the right button on his radio.
Subscriber matches.
Thanks, Dick. Vickers has 2 chances to get into this race. One
See
is
if
to
that
race
works
his
better.
way in, be one of the top 2 finishers.
Still
not
a little
already
bit small.
qualified. The other chance he has is if Joe Nemechek or David Rudiman races their way in, then Vickers would be the next car added to the field based on qualifying speed. Right now, that appears to be his best chance.
Single file
As we go
restart
back to
still
green,
in 2008.
5 laps complete. Ryan Newman complete. You watch in the lead, and you watch the speed build on Fox Tracks.
It takes almost a full lap with this carburetor restrictor plate to get all the way up to speed. You can see when it went off into turn 1, just over 150 miles per hour.
I'm gonna tell you something. Doesn't take a lap to get up to speed down there where I was.
I mean, there's some teams that do slightly different things to the rims. I hope that that picks up, so you get closer to at least to something like touring cars, or you get multicolored rims, like
Now, an
British
interesting
touring
car
cars
in
or
this
some of those
mix
guys.
is riding in 3rd place, and that's the Blue Deuce of Kurt Busch. Busch is the series most
I don't.
recent past
I think
champion,
Domino's
so he
started that
knows
in
he'll be the
06.
500.
Ooh.
Should he race
I almost
his
said
way in
06, but
today
maybe in
in one of
07
those
with
top 2
Rudiman's
spots
team.
because
I know they
he's
did
not a
the
top
555
35
deal.
team. Then
Well, I guess that would have been
Dale
Michael
Jarrett would be
Waltrip
the next
still.
driver eligible for the champions provision.
But
So right now,
yeah, maybe it would have been.
somewhere
Maybe
in
it
that
was
garage area,
06.
Dale Jarrett is rooting.
Yeah, maybe it
for
was
Kurt
06.
Busch.
Yeah,
I was going to
might
say,
have been there. I don't think it was
Dale
05.
Race his way in.
He was still
He's
a
got
DEI.
fast race car, but yeah, he's pulling for that blue deuce.
Look at the top of your screen. Newman's position 1 is in gray. He's locked into the field. Nemechek and Kurt Busch right now are in the 2 transfer positions. The drivers like Boris said, who have to try to race their way in, who are not right now in a transfer
that
position.
Truex? I thought it was. Yeah, no, Truex there on the inside. Going for the 4th spot.
And he doesn't have to worry.
Matt Yoakum.
And if Dale Jarrett is scanning Kurt Busch's
I forgot
radar,
Newman was this good in the duel race even before the winning the 500.
My car feels great. The balance is excellent.
I'll tell you one thing, though. You
Very strong early on.
We've said it over and over again. Look at that 78 car out there. Hanging right there with the lead pack and actually pulling up here with the...
See?
With the
back when Furniture Row was a surprise up front. I was hoping they'd run this retro paint scheme when they were closing up shop. I know that Truex only laughed when I asked about that at Phoenix, but obviously the Regan Smith scheme was a fine choice anyway.
There from Boris said, and the fellow they call Front Row Joe, now racing for a team based out of Denver, Colorado, trying to race his way into the 500.
And what's important about him being up there, Mike, is it shows that qualifying run. That wasn't a fluke.
And how rough this track is before the repave in 2011 still. Track's still got a lot of character to it. Bobby Labonte well back in the back.
Ryan Newman in the 12, Kurt Busch in the 2. Not that fast on qualifying day.
Yeah, Ben, exactly. Yeah, Boris being that close to the front, already being out of the field still. I mean, just how tight the field was. You had to really climb your way through the pack.
They are still lined up 2 by 2 like they're on a pace lap.
Well, they really are. And today is ideal conditions, Mike. It's cool. The track's got a lot
Always
of grip.
loved that Little
That
Debbie
really complements not only
Air
this
Force
car,
paint
any
scheme
race
there that
car.
Elliott's running. Schrader ran it in 06. I thought it looked great on the old Fusion. It's okay on the car tomorrow, but it looked gorgeous on the old car. Love that paint
Mikey
scheme.
likes his car. He said it's just a little bit tight in 2. His father, Greg, high atop the speedway.
Ooh, and he's about to get tipped by one of the Red Bull cars. Gets in the middle there.
Just like a string.
Yaley and it's like Mears in the Jack Daniels car.
Because in practice, a number of times we saw him drive off in the corner and totally lose that car. I think the handle goes away on that car in a hurry.
One thing I've noticed, if you look right behind Reed,
Or I guess it was still Boyer in the 07, right? The Agent Single 07. 'Cause, yeah, it was. Gosh, yeah, Mears went to the. I know Mears went to the 07, but that was when they brought the 33 in. Oh, curb problems.
In the 2 car though.
He's off the pace.
He slowed down going down through down here going into turn 1, started slowing down and falling back through the field.
I think our engine's done for the day.
Oh, he cooked it.
Wow.
Roll.
We stay green as they come around to complete lap 10.
Car handled well, but let the engine go.
He gets caught in the middle, and all of a sudden he just starts slowing down. And that's why I said when he went by, I said keep an eye on him because there might be something wrong with him.
Get to see Regan Smith debut that Principal Financial Group car that would play such a significant factor at Talladega that fall.
And Kurt Busch came on the radio, Mike, and said there's smoke in the cockpit. He has switched the ignition boxes and checked a lot of the other gauges and switched the other switches right now.
Michael, excellent. Good find of the Michael Waltrip car.
Put the puzzle together. Kurt Busch
Gorgeous diecast back then.
Third in the Daytona 500 in the champion's provisional position. That means Dale Jarrett in the next race and Bill Elliott driving the Wood Brothers number 21 in this race. Don't have a provisional.
No tires, just gas. Thank you for picking up the certificate there for sure. Glad it arrived safely. Actually, one that got lost in the mail, so I had to resend that this week. But we're getting that taken care of.
The fastest Ford on qualifying day, and he's showing it his.
So he ducked down the line. Who's that?
Wasn't a fluke either.
And here comes a kid down on the bottom right there.
Reed Sorensen.
One car that showed me the other night that he's matured a lot. He ran really well in the Bud shootout.
That's right. Sorensen was very fast in the shootout.
And using his head, I might say.
Very good in the 500 too.
Tell you what, though, that outside line, they are stacking up over there. You see that 88 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr. We talked about him bringing his teammates with him. There you see the aerial view. They are
signed Quinn Houff card. Excellent, Joe. Very nice.
Why is the outside lane why has that become the fast lane here?
Because the fast race cars are in it right now, I think.
Because Junior's in it. All right, that's all I needed to know.
Sorensen holding command very nicely. Very racy package, though. You got Edwards and Newman already up there. Newman's been up there most of the time, but Edwards getting back up there.
And Joe Nemechek. 12 laps complete. Race fans, during the Gatorade Duel, you can follow your favorite driver free on Track Pass at NASCAR.com. Listen to his in-car audio, drag your computer over next to the TV screen, go to NASCAR.com for free Track Pass today. Reed Sorensen lost the lead when Carl Edwards and Martin Truex.
Thank you for posting Dave W's channel there earlier, Ben. Thank you for that.
Carl Edwards in that 99 car, he's a Truex Jr. in the one car, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s former teammate. Now they've got that outside line going again.
Bottom right, watch Reed Sorensen in front. Newman to the outside. Here comes Edwards with a full head of steam, and Truex with him. Bye-bye Sorensen.
Sorensen gets stuck in the middle right
Yeah,
there.
Target 41 car was lost in the shuffle when the DEI and Chip Ganassi merger happened at the end of 2008. So we lost the 41 as a casualty of that. Lost the 40 midway through the year as well. So that's why you got down to the 42 being like the last survivor of that during the merger.
Down the back straightaway.
From Dale Jr. looking back.
Yeah, they're kind of moving the owner points around at that
He's
point.
content to ride there now, but when he gets ready to pass, watch him go to that high side.
He will get right against that wall.
He's got a line off of there that's just unique, I think.
Martin Truex, who scored his first win in what is now the Sprint Cup Series last year.
There we go. That puts it in perspective. Truex now retired full-time competition. May run the Daytona 500 next year for 23XI, depending on what happens with that team during the ongoing lawsuits. Of course, new developments in that case going forward. Truex still with the Bass Pro Shops paint scheme.
You know, the interesting thing is he and Dale
Still with DEI there, leading the way over Junior.
And they were teammates for so many years. Steve Burns.
And Mike, we've caught up with Kurt Busch. Kurt, short day, what puts you in the garage?
They're still checking it out. You know, we've got some burned up wires under the dash, so that's not good. And we'll go from there. We've got the Champions Provisional to fall back on, and so we're not too worried about it.
Good luck Sunday, Kurt.
In the Budweiser shootout, when Dale Earnhardt Jr. took the lead, we were accused on some websites of turning up the volume around the grandstand. That was not us. Freddie Aldis did not slide that pot up. That's the
Freddie Aldis didn't.
Coming to their feet and making the noise for Dale Jr. That was not enhanced audio.
Well, it took him 18
Junior.
From the rear to the front. He takes the lead
Back to the
here.
front.
And right now, our two transfer
Hey there, Bumblebee. Thank you for tuning in.
Boris said in the 60.
You're just
Joe Nemechek
about
in the
getting to the
78.
halfway point of Gatorade Duel race number 1 in 2008.
Matt Yoakum on the new leader.
Still hanging on there in the high lane for Nemechek.
All right, we'll get back with that. Junior leading Newman now by just about a car length. Sorensen has regrouped in a solid
to the
third.
corner, right rear is just taking off up the racetrack. He's driving up the track himself.
I'm kind of fine with the pylon because I want to see people move up and down the rankings there a bit. It's a little tricky to see that with the ticker because you got to wait so long to get through to another part of the field. But I mean, you are kind of watching the field go by in slow motion with the ticker, so I can see that.
Up the track. The car is in a kind of a loose condition, and he has to chase it all the way up the hill to catch it.
Let's try Matt again.
Mike Tony Jr. joked on the grid. He said, I feel like...
Do the Junior like Marty Smith in that one commercial. Joe, there you go.
For us, it's just about surviving and not tearing up this race.
Hey there, Death Killer. Thank you for tuning in.
He got there a little sooner than expected.
Yeah, I'm afraid last bro of myself during this whole era, every time they hyped Junior up, and this was peak Junior hype here when he went to Hendrick. Oh, my goodness.
He also, Matt, said that his car is real loose, but just for emphasis, he said it again, real loose, real loose. Johnson has motored forward to the 8th spot from the back of the pack.
But one thing I really like about this package we got here now, this engine package, these engines have got some response to them now. You can roll up out of the throttle a little bit and not lose all your momentum, and you can get it back because you got about 50 more horsepower.
Dicey in the middle of the pack there, but starting to get single file.
And it's not because the engine package has changed as much as it has a bigger restrictor plate with a lower gear turning about 1,000 more RPM than it did a year ago. The net speed is about the same as a year ago.
Oh, yeah, no tires, just gas. Yeah, remember when the 40T was shut down? That's that whole Flying Scotsman Dario Franchitti era. As I was mentioning before starting the race here tonight, yeah, this was the first one I did the Daytona 500 starting grid for. So back in 2008, taking notes on this race and getting ready to write the script for the first one, which of course is on this channel.
In the 14th position, it just looks like the Dodges were hurting on qualifying day, but they're looking awfully racy in the draft.
Yeah, you know what I think it was? I think it's the gear thing. I don't think they ever had a gear that was really good for them to qualify.
Oh, hang on.
Something happened to Sadler. He climbed the hill.
Yeah,
Yikes.
He's out of it.
He's off.
Ooh, and Menard got a little bunched up there, too.
What he's trying to do is get into pit road.
Ooh, Elliott's going to mess him up from that.
Issue on that 19 car. Now, Elliott Sadler is locked into the Daytona 500 in the top 35 in owner points.
No caution, but a close moment caused when Elliott Sadler climbed
I've always
the hill.
liked the number 44. I have a pretty good
Well, Larry, I think part
preference
of
for that car number. I always thought that looked nice.
The gear that they needed, and I think the gear they got in is
Tan Dog 58, thank you so much for watching the channel. 18 years. Yeah, hard to believe I've had anything for you to watch for 18 years, but there you go.
See the car just walked up the racetrack.
That's right, Mears in the 5 car this time.
But that has
Man, oh
all the
man.
look of a soft tire. Maybe not all the way flat.
Yikes, yeah, Vickers getting into Menard there on the bottom lane there,
The
too.
other thing, too, Larry, when you get in a precarious situation like he was in right there with cars underneath of you like that, you think you got a flat tire, and you kind of hope you do, because you don't want your car being that ill and something not wrong with it.
Was Caden Honeycutt really disqualified for having a cell phone in his car? I didn't hear that. I haven't followed up on it since the initial news. That'd be a bummer. I think he's a very good driver, and it's about time to see him get some attention, but I know post-race inspection penalties are pretty common in those short track ranks.
Welcome back to Daytona. 26 laps complete, and we're getting great aerial coverage from the DirecTV blimp. DirecTV, your ticket to the most sports in HD. Across the top of the screen, as the ticker rolls across, the drivers who have their position listed in green are in one of the 2 transfer positions to make it into the Daytona 500. Right now, Boris Said and AJ Allmendinger just took the second of those.
Ah, you tricked me. You're too good. No tires, just gas. You had me looking at my phone. Well, good. I'm glad he didn't.
Trying to race into those positions have their positions shown in yellow. There is Boris Said with position 9 in green. That'll help you keep up on who's in and who's.
And it's more Junior up front.
Too soon, though. He got to the
Slurpee 7-Eleven scheme for Boris Said. Underrated. Not bad.
You know, Mike, we heard them say Dale Jr.'s car was a little bit loose. That's okay early in the run. That car's going to tighten up as it goes along here. Fuel burns off, get a little nose weight in it, and he'll get better and better. So I think he's going to be fine.
Okay.
Oh, very cool, Javier. Yeah, Scott Riggs seems like he's a pretty laid-back guy. It's cool that you got his autograph at Sears Point. Ooh, Marlin almost in the fence there.
It shed virtually all of the tread. This is off
Oh, that'll do it.
There had been some tire issues in testing and also with a bunch shootout, but this is the worst one I've seen so far.
Is this likely more a problem with the tire or the problem with the alignment and the setup, Larry?
I think it's a combination, Mike. Yeah, there's no question. If your car is a little bit loose, like Dale Earnhardt Jr. is talking about, you stand a chance of overworking and blistering the right rear. If the car's not turning, you stand a chance of overworking the right front. But what I don't like, these guys are on too fine of a line. The car almost has to be dead neutral to stay out of trouble.
Even trying to do single file is so tricky. Look at everybody stepping out of line here in the corners.
Oh, there's a camshaft and a lifter problem. And that's because they got new camshafts and lifters last year.
Classic Daytona. This is so rough in those corners.
It seems like not all of them are going back because everybody's not having a problem. I believe they can trace that tire problem down to a code and maybe come up with a solution.
Check with Steve Burns.
Mike, listening to Ryan Newman, he just reported into crew
Yeah, rough ending for the Bills starting for Productions. They'll be back, though. I think the big game is next week with Lions, and I'm glad they at least kept it close at the second half. They shouldn't have been so flat at the beginning, and they definitely can't do that against the Lions. They give the Lions any kind of a gap next week, they'll get buried, and that's gonna be a real problem because that might be the Super Bowl. I know it's optimistic, but there's a hell of a lot that needs to happen between now and then. But it could be. It could well be.
Remember on lap 3, spinning off the backstretch,
Several cars spinning.
About him too soon because it looks like possibly he's coming back to pit road.
He said a right side tire.
Yeah, I think he said right front.
And he had just about worked his way to one of the transfer spots from the rear of the field.
And Larry, I think the right front is the problem because these cars are tight. They want to. If you're going to have a problem, you're probably
Somebody way behind the field there. You're hearing that one car go by.
Because of the safety interliners used on super speedways, the tire does not go flat to the rim, so it's hard to tell just from looking at it. It's the right rear, I believe, where the Red has had a problem, but we'll wait for confirmation.
And it could be. I mean, if you're leaning on the right rear, then you're going to hurt the right rear. If you're leaning on the right front, you're probably going to hurt the right front.
Cars are pitting as we hit halfway.
You know what? I think this is a great move. If I'm a crew chief, I'm a spotter.
Tunnelbuck, thank you so much. Yeah, it may well be the case. You got people watching the sport now that weren't born when started doing the videos here. So, hey, that puts it in perspective. And it all goes back to this. I had a couple videos from 06, 07 at Sears Point, but that was about it on the channel. I think we probably had about 50 subscribers probably. So, very happy with how the channel's progressed since then. I'm very excited about what's coming up here. I got some very good pictures from our buddy Brian Hallman, who has done a tremendous job with the pictures he's been able to provide for videos on this channel. And I got some, I'm very, very excited to kind of get that going.
But they're trying to get into the Daytona 500 anyhow.
That team has just 4 full-time employees. If they make the race, they'll have a crew for Sunday. They'll need one. If they don't make the race, Frank Stoddard and his bunch loads up and heads home. What he has to hope, Larry, is we don't have a caution.
Exactly. Now you see A.J. Allmendinger.
Now, see, look at that merging in turns 1 and 2. A little hairy there.
He's going to be fighting with Elliott Sadler in the 19
Big G as to the field fillers. Stay tuned. We're reaching a very critical point in the field fillers saga. So I would just say stay tuned on the future episodes. I think by the time you see these next couple that I'm working on here, I do have one video nearly complete on Competitive Edge. I have another one, the rough draft is complete. The next episode after that, and we'll get that going here pretty soon. So we got more coming up here. Yeah, I started the channel in 2006, Cars Boy 95. I've been following the sport since 91. But the channel here started in June of 06. Started posting videos from Sears Point that year. It was just kind of a place to share them. YouTube had just started up and started my account to have access to all the videos, because back then you used to have like limits as to watching some content. There was like an age requirement or something. And, I was already a college graduate, so I didn't need to worry about that. But yeah.
Lap before, both the Ganassi cars and Carl Edwards made stops.
I just remember, when we started Speed Weeks, we had a tire issue because the track was green. Once we put cars on the track and got rubber on the track, the tire issue went away. What do we have here for a night and a day? We had rain.
Scott Riggs in the State Water Heaters car.
So a lot of this is just putting the rubber back in the track.
We were just looking at the
and again, the Haas team before Tony Stewart bought it. Now we're talking about a time now where the team's now shut down. I mean, that, the keys are in the door and everything. And we're going back to bringing the Haas factory team back, really. I mean, it was Haas CNC, now it's a Haas factory team.
J.J. Yaley, that blue car, comes back on pit
bringing the 00 instead of the 66 there.
He was too fast, leaving the pits on his stop. So Riggs comes in, along with the 70 of Jeremy Mayfield, the 2 teammates for Haas CNC Racing.
There you go.
They will be the last cars to pit, although has Kenny Wallace been in?
Kenny Wallace has been in, yes, I believe. Yes. All right, think about
it's getting tight. Bobby Labonte going to try to cut under.
He was one of those cars that took advantage
cutting
of
under Vickers there in the corner.
So he has been
very daring
road,
move.
Not under green, it appears.
To me, like the 12 car should be the leader, right, guys?
Well, for a few moments here comes
Joe, right on. Remember String Merlin's back-to-back 500s. First one that I can remember, Joe S, would be the 1991 Die Hard 500. I remember distinctly watching Rick Mast's car flip upside down in the tri-oval. And actually got a response from Rick when I tweeted about that a while back, which was pretty funny. Luckily, of course, he came out of that okay. But yeah, I remember watching races. Gosh, I mean, by the time we saw Sears Point in 1992, seeing that live, Yeah, I remember watching, races coming into that and Davey Allison being so dominant, but not really paying attention as much as at a young age to all the injuries he was suffering that season. I just remember him just being dominant. People starting to boo him because he's beating Earnhardt all the time.
The problem he's going to have, though, is he's going to be running out of tires a lot sooner.
No tires, just gas. Yeah, Thomas paint schemes. Those are always fun.
Essentially on about lap.
Regan Smith had that one at New Hampshire, didn't he?
So he'll need to stop again.
Yeah, he'll probably have to because
he can make it on fuel. We're just not sure about tires.
But I honestly believe that what we're seeing with these tires.
Yeah, 2013 Daytona 500 was not a great race, unfortunately. The series was at a very interesting point with a new car, not a lot of teams, kind of a period of a lot of reductions really instead of advancements.
Another season of hard-nosed racing in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series begins tomorrow here at Daytona. These trucks don't play nice. It's live on Speed tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern.
Does this mean I'm the oldest NASCAR YouTuber? I don't know if that's true. I know there were some other people that did clips and stuff around that time. I remember posting stuff at a time where I was posting Jerry Nadeau's, right off the grass at Sears Point 98. There was maybe like one other video of his back then. Nowadays, you can look up just about any driver and find a lot of content, which is great.
Right on the high side, getting a little bit of push from Elliott Sadler in that 19 car.
And let me tell you something. That dude driving that 09, that ain't no blind hog.
No, sir. Two-time winner of the Daytona 500.
Larry, you were talking during commercial. They were so dejected in testing this winter that team thought they might not come to Daytona.
We had 53 cars.
There were some starting parks in 2013, Javier. I mean, just not as many. You still had Phil Parsons racing, and I believe the LaFine family team was still parking back then in some races. It was really more by like 2015, like 2014-15 that they really kind of scaled back, especially 15. Really, by that point, even Phil Parsons' team was running full races. It just didn't quite work out.
In the 500.
Up front, second place changes hands.
Yeah, shout out to Bumps Notes and Mayo Never Dies. There you go. That sounds familiar.
Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car with help from Ryan Newman and a whole pack of Dodges.
Was TBK still around there? TBK Fame Flame. I know that was a channel that had a lot of clips, especially crashes and stuff they put online. That was a big thing.
Our guys from pit road said that Roy McCauley ran that car 35 laps before he made
it. Born Before Cars came out in theaters. Oh my goodness. That was 1 year out of college seeing that movie. I feel so old that way. So very old.
Has a degree from Purdue University, a bachelor's degree in chassis engineering.
And his crew chief.
Jimmy to the front.
Pretty sharp guy too.
Yes, he is. That's good combination.
And Juan Montoya there to third.
In this race, Kurt Busch is in the garage. He'll take the champion's provisional.
Yeah, go or go home drivers really make it interesting. Then you get a really interesting jumble of teams. That's just great. I mean, from a viewpoint of going to the garage area and talking to these drivers and teams and trying to learn more about them, I always think is interesting. Hopefully we get a good cross-section of teams this next season. Planning on returning to doing some more trackside stuff next year. We're still working plans out on that.
But he's definitely getting a little bit of help from Juan Pablo Montoya in that 42 car on the bottom of the racetrack. Now, right now, Brian Vickers in this crew, he's so much as we've got 15 laps to go. Wish this group would get lined up. He's the only go or go home car in this group, and he's in the transfer spot.
There we go. See,
to move in.
Sterling Marlin on the
Katas knows what I'm saying.
Wallace, Boris said, and AJ Allmendinger.
Yeah, when cars came out.
And Allmendinger, they've ganged up on Marlin.
Whoa. Man, he knocked the fire out of Sterling and got him squirrely there, but he was able to hang on.
Yep, the 2006 start of the race. Yep. That was just me in the grandstands at turn 2, just as a fan, I was very, very, very green back then. And a lot of my older clips around that same time, I'm just using a digital camera. I didn't know what video capturing was or anything, so I was very out of practice with that. Very, very much so. I had to learn everything to do even what I do now. And as you can tell from the start of the stream tonight, still got stuff to learn now.
The 87 car would be in the transfer spot. Now we still got a battle for the lead up here. 2 by 2 by 2 by 2.
Steve.
A great recovery by Brian Vickers, getting back in the top 8 here.
Chassis adjustment. Brian Newman had reported his car as loose. Now he says it's a little bit tight. He said, but that's good. That's what I need to pass somebody.
The 83 of Vickers.
Yeah, there were 2 separate crashes on the first lap of the 2006 race. So spins really in 2 and then
Yeah,
a
he
big
likes this
crash in
engine
the
to spin
S's.
right where it is.
So
Don't
very
punch
wild.
them,
Probably
don't punch them back
wildest
up, but
start.
You're not going to get away.
2013 had a
One thing
wild
I've seen
start
about
too,
these
but in a different
cars,
way. A lot of
nobody
cars
seems
that
to be
had
able to get away. You might be
mechanical
able to grab
issues at the
the
very
lead,
beginning. It
but
would have been a
suck
very
everybody
bizarre.
right back up to you.
I kind of wish
And
I
again,
had been
just like
covering
that's the
that one
package
from
we got
pit
this
road
year.
because I think it would have been
Toward the back
much
of
more
that
eye-opening.
pack,
All these
past
cars
champion
dropping
of
out at the
Daytona
beginning.
500, Bill Elliott will not have a champion's provisional. Kurt Busch is going to use that. And the Wood brothers. From
Yeah,
Stuart,
good point,
Virginia.
Charles. Yeah, having Kenny in the 87. But yeah, they brought in Joe to replace Kenny Wallace at Furniture Row. But yeah, you'd think of the 87, you think Joe Nemechek, you think Nemco Motorsports, which still was a year away. Yeah, Joe was in the process of bringing the team back after he lost the Furniture Row ride to Regan Smith. Came back in 2009 and brought his team back. So that was still kind of a thought in the back of the minds there.
Because they've gotten lined up behind him, and here comes some other of those cars.
Favorite paint scheme in this field? Tough call. Tough call. Boy, you know, I didn't like the Cheerios paint schemes for the Petties, but I really like Bobby Labonte's here. It looks really nice. My eyes also went to the Hall of Fame racing car for Yaley. That one looks really nice. Bright accents and stuff on them. Probably between those two.
And race his way into the 500. Vickers and Kenny Wallace trying to do it.
Yeah, if I had to pick one, actually, I'm kind of leaning towards Yaley the more I'm thinking about it. The 96 is really nice.
While Allmendinger and Sed.
Well, although Elliott's got the Little Debbie's one. But again, I think the Little Debbie's car looked better on the old car. On the new car, it looked a little off.
Hello, Newman, a little bit ago. Can you say goodbye, Newman?
He slipped into third behind.
No, he did. He got a hold.
We'll see what the second race looks like. I'm sure my answer may even change during that.
41 car Reed Sorensen. Let's take a look at this right here. This happened.
Yeah, definitely let me know in the chat what your guys' favorite paint scheme is in this season, or in these two races we're watching tonight.
From Newman, but Newman's got that
Yikes!
You're going to see
good
him go to the
crossover.
inside, and he'll take the lead back.
Well, the reason he did, though, is because when Junior was down low and he come up off, car was pushing, he got a little bit loose, let Newman have a run back on him. But once he gets back out front up high like that, he's going to be hard to handle.
But we're looking back at Reed Sorensen. We talked about that earlier. So impressed with him in the Budweiser shootout. And look at this kid. He's not even 22 years old right now. He's the veteran, though, at Ganassi Racing with Sabatas, but he is really racing so far in Speed Weeks like a 10-year veteran.
Yeah, the Altel car is nice.
Midfield, Kenny Wallace.
Haveling car for sure.
87.
Whoa, Boris said in the 60 just about got into the side of Carl
Yikes.
Edwards.
Just about got the wall, too.
Setting in now for these guys is we're coming 7 to go.
Yeah, and by now the tires are pretty much gone. And we see the. Yeah, he almost spun out. I saw that, and so that's smart move. He's on pole, I think.
Right. He starts on the pole Sunday no matter what. So putting this car in the garage at crunch time is probably not a bad idea.
And he learned a lot. Learned a lot.
I'll be anxious to know what his tires look like right now.
Vickers and Wallace are in. Boris said Allmendinger and Marlin have got to go. 6.5 laps left.
Pretty impressed, though, once again, with the racing that I'm seeing. I mean, this hadn't been one of those things that followed me. It's been all much a lot of passing, a lot of different lead changes. And who's that on the
Kenny Wallace still dogging in
Wallace in that 87 car.
There we go.
Himself. He's going to slide up in front of Vickers. 6 to go.
Found himself in a great spot.
Right there, Herm. Don't even try. Just try to follow that 5 car. That's all you got to do.
Is that not a cheerleader?
Yeah, just tell him,
right there?
don't get out of line. Don't try to get fourth. There's no point.
We're not here to win this duel race. We're here to try to get in the Daytona 500.
So now it's Vickers on the hot seat. He is on the bubble, but Boris said is the next transfer car who is about 7 positions behind him.
It's going to get pretty tense here these last 4 or 5 laps because I got to believe all these guys' tires are pretty much used up.
Okay, people are lapped here. Yaley and Petty, and we shook Carl Long a lap down. He was in front of the leaders not long ago. Oh, yikes, Sadler.
Sadler in the wall.
And remember, he had the problem back on lap 22.
Ooh, he lost the cap of the tire.
Caution, though.
He has lost the entire surface of his right front tire.
Yeah, we saw that earlier, you know, and obviously they've got a right front issue with the car. I don't mean just because
Kenny Wallace never got paid to make the
something
race. Oh, that's
using up
terrible.
that tire.
I haven't watched that interview, but I got to check it out.
Bringing it to us.
Definitely a used up Best Buy car.
hit really, really hard that time.
I remember they made gift cards at Best Buy that actually had that die cast, and it would flatten the bottom, kind of like now where it's got the under tray and the diffuser and so forth. They put like a little barcode on the bottom of it. Got that around somewhere.
Smoke. I looked at the 4 tires that came off Jimmy Johnson's car just now, Mike. They all look just fine.
Well, I wonder if the smoke was in his car or in the middle of that pack somewhere that he was riding with.
But look at this. I mean, he comes in, he says, okay, I'm going to give it up. I don't want to tear up my car, and he gets a caution. And he's backing that tail into the left.
This is probably, I mean, Cars Boy 95, you could probably say this is probably the first year that Furniture Row was really good. I think they maybe were anticipating that this new car was going to level the playing field, kind of like Starcom Racing hoped to with the next-gen car. I mean, 06, 07, they were there, but they were not, or 05 also, a little bit 05, 06, 07. They were there, but they weren't really that competitive. Furniture Row
Kane
was.
got 4 tires and drove up and won the race.
But Jeff Gordon was locked in.
Kind of their battle was just to qualify for races.
And, well, they'll get the green flag with 3 to go. You would hope, since he's in a transfer position, he could stay there, ride it out, and get in the 500. Because if he pits, I think he's headed home.
The big thing that I was told in the garage area about crew chiefs and drivers, it's not that
yeah, I'm seeing like a lot of comments on this. Yeah, I don't know. There's been a pretty bad cold this year, man. I had that one. I got sick like about a week after the season ended, and I still sound a little plugged up even now. So
others will pit with him. Boris Set's coming in now. This will work to Vickers' favor.
Yeah, now
it's thankfully a lot better than it was maybe about 2 weeks ago.
Are also coming to pit road. So that is
Starcom didn't get to make a next-gen start there, Starting Park Productions, but they did build one. They built at least one car and tested it at the Charlotte Roval test in late 2021. Unfortunately, they ended up selling it to Rick Ware Racing after the team shut down.
Vickers should have no problem escaping from his pit. Vickers, all done. Stead still in his pit. Stead also took the right sides only, and he spins right in front of the 66.
And Darrell, I know this was a big debate in all of our mind, but I just know talking to these guys know they're going to have to get up on that wheel. They're going to have to drive that race car. And the way you can do that, and you know you won't have a tire problem now, is with fresh tires.
There's the race off pit road. They will restart with 2 laps to go.
Well, we got a little shootout to wrap up the first duel here.
Not pit. So Kenny Wallace and Joe Nemechek are in
yes, you're right, Duddleblug. That was Kaz Gralla, the car, not Quinn Houff.
Piece of luck that, except for Nemechek, everybody behind him did pit. So he's right behind Nemechek. But then he's got Boris Said and A.J. Allmendinger to deal with. We'll have 2
No, the crew did build the car. I mean, they had to do it. I mean, obviously, the spec car, you got to put it together and stuff, but it did pass inspection and everything. So it was a good enough car that they could sell it to another team. Ooh, good camera shot there. Sorensen all over him.
That isn't bump drafting. That's just plain old pushing right there.
Jimmy Johnson dropped way to the back on the restart to preserve his pole-sitting car for Sunday.
And look at those 2 cars. Look at the gap they put on everybody else because of that push they're getting.
Here comes Junior down the back straightaway.
Figured out when they took the green. It's not going to do them a lot of good, except that these cats back here are going to catch them.
I was going to say they were really strung out, but now they're starting to pull back together. That's the transfer spot race right there. Look at the run. Vickers in the 83 car. It's getting through the high side of 3 and 4.
Ooh, there we go. Good side draft.
And you see, wow,
Got him
the
squirrely.
78 car's dancing around, and Vickers has got a little grip. He goes right by.
He can drive that race car now.
Hanging on to her.
What a comeback for Brian Vickers. He is in the final transfer spot.
Great sound recording, too. I'm hearing the wind in my right channel on this thing. I don't know if you guys are.
Nemechek will not push the envelope because he don't want to get up there and pass Kenny Wallace. Nemechek's in the 500.
78-2 back.
I tell you what, I am shocked at. I know this is some good racing right in here, but those 2 cars up front have put a huge gap on everybody else. And
there you go. Almost at the beginning of the slam draft, the tandem drafting happening.
From the lead pack.
Yeah, that's the biggest lead I've seen anybody have here all week.
There's Kenny Wallace in the 87 car trying to come to the finish line to get him the Daytona 500.
Oh, 3 wide behind the leaders. It sorts out. And the second checkered flag for the Sprint Cup cars in Speed Weeks.
Ooh, Menard, yikes.
Junior again.
Boy, Menard in the 15 got pushed all the way down on the apron.
He went down there. He had nowhere to go. He had to try to get by Kenny. I don't know why, but he had to.
I think
This is
Paul was
Dale
already
Jr.'s
in.
third victory in a Gatorade Duel. He won in 2003. He won in 2004 and went on to win the 500.
Somebody with a train horn.
You really inspired me. Thanks a lot there. My car just started
Kenny Wallace and Brian Vickers have raced their way into the Daytona 500.
Big turnaround after both Red Bull cars missed the show in
Brian Vickers
07.
had to race his way in a year ago. He got wrecked in turn 4. Both Red Bull cars had to go home.
There you go.
But think about Kenny Wallace. We know that he will race in the 500. We know that Joe Nemechek, there they are right there. This is actually a single car operation out of Denver, Colorado that's only 3 years old. They are in the Daytona 500. Now they're going to have 2.
I can't believe it. I am so excited. It's unreal.
That sounds like Kenny.
Let's show you the finish for the final transfer spot.
Yeah, Menard was right there on Wallace, just deviling him on the last corner.
He will get it. Joe Nemechek will get into the 500 on his qualifying speed. He'll start in the 21st row.
And the 15 car.
Yeah, he's had a big run off the nose of Vickers.
He had to go down there to keep running the back of Kenny.
I just believe Joe Nemechek was making sure he was playing it safe for his teammate.
Yeah, Paul Menard goes way back. I remember him bringing a car to Sears Point in 03 and wrecking it in practice.
Back in Daytona, the Gatorade Duel, and Brian Vickers didn't win the race, but boy, does it feel like a win. Meanwhile, in victory lane, a very familiar picture. Dr. Dick Berggren is standing by with our winner.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., after going nearly 2 years without a win, switched teams, and now he is 2 for 2 here at Daytona. Well, how about that? What was the most difficult, most interesting, most fun moment of the race for you?
It was pretty interesting with them old tires about midway through that race. Everybody sliding around, wrecking and carrying on. Made that pass down the back straightaway, got a run, and got underneath the 41.
Another win for Joe. Yeah, again.
I don't know if he lifted to let me have, because he just to keep from, because I might have wrecked the field there, but I come on up in front of him. It must have just been inches. He had to have lifted a little bit, but he got a run on the inside of me there. That was pretty fun. Old tires are tough, man. We was all running up the top because we wrecked on the bottom down there sliding around. But I'm real proud of my team. They built me a great car. The engine guys worked overnight to bring us the replacement motors down here. They're great, as we see. And
stay tuned, folks. We're going to stick around for the second race of the duels here in just a moment.
Hope they enjoyed it.
Oh, we did indeed. Everybody wanted to know how this new NASCAR car would run at Daytona. Your evaluation of it?
Okay, honestly, it's got to look great on TV. It's harder to drive, but ain't we supposed to have to work hard, you know? I mean, it's hard to drive, but it's got to look great on TV. It sure is a handful in the car, and it reminds me a lot of old style race cars I seen, the way they slide around and get loose and stuff. So I think it's all right. You know, we'll tone them in and get them better, but so far it got a good grade from me.
Junior's all right too. He may just be the best restrictor plate driver in all of NASCAR. Matty.
Dick, the guy who had the e-ticket ride today, who
E-tickets.
felt like he won the race, is Brian Vickers. Now going back to lap 2, walk
Drinking game every time Matt Yoakum says
talk about
e-ticket.
adversity between the boxing qualifying and this in the race. Yeah, the 15 got to the outside. I went to block him, and then the 60 just pushed up and got us. I don't know what he was, if it was out of his control there, if he just misjudged it. But it was everything I could do to keep it off the wall, smoking the tires right there to keep it out of the inside wall. But it worked out. You know, Red Bull and Toyota did a great job. You know, and that's what this weekend was about for us, overcoming adversity. We had plenty of it, but I want to thank everybody on this team for working so hard. Did a great job in the race. Had a lot of friends out there that really helped me. You know, Casey Mears pushed me a lot. The 78 took it easy on me there at the end. He knew he was locked in, and he probably could have come back and
Not quite the first season for Front Row Motorsports, Catus. It was originally in 2004, back when they were Means Jenkins Motorsports. You recall in one episode of Rise of the Field Fillers on Larry Gunselman's team, I discussed that team a bit there back then. And Front Row Motorsports really kind of got going by kind of combining with Mach 1 Incorporated and so forth from that point. So, yeah, that became a big deal there.
Mistakes is why we hit pit road early this time, and it paid off.
What a difference a year
But,
makes. Brian Vickers, he'll be in the starting lineup.
between
for the
2004 and
50th Daytona
2008, really even this season, they were just a part-time
his
effort.
teammate,
And then
AJ
2009, they
Allmendinger,
went
will not.
full-time.
So from the joy of making the race to the utter despair of not. And AJ, I think your face says it all right now.
Yeah, pretty much sucks as bad as it can. I mean, that's unfortunately, you know, all my guys, everybody at Red Bull, you know, they deserve to have 2 cars in. You know, that's good that Brian got in for at least the guys back at the shop, but my guys deserve better than that. And just never had the car right. We were just tight the whole time, and we never had that in practice yesterday. So
AJ would come back very strong in 2009 for the Petty
ran my ass
44
off
car.
trying to get back to it. One more lap, there might have been a chance, but you know, it's just one of 36 races. It's not the best way to start, but heck, we're starting a lot better than we did last year. So we'll just go to California, be fine, but it'll take the weekend to get over it.
Thank you, Matt.
And over here, we've got like the Wallace family reunion. You just got mugged by your brother. Congratulations.
There we go.
We've got
Kenny
about
and
5
Mike.
minutes, so there's
5
plenty
minutes,
of Kenny
good.
Wallace time. Congratulations.
Well,
you are in the big show.
Can you believe it? Well, my brother Mike is a hell of a race car driver, and everybody knows that. He's one of the best drafters, and he just odd man out in the 500 this year. It didn't make sense. Mike had a hell of an attitude. I would have been down in the dumps crying in my motorhome, and Mike said, "Herm, can I spot for you?" And I said, "Hell yes." I said, because Mike's one of the best there is. And he just inspired me the whole time. And there were so many times that people cut me off, and I thought I was going to hit him. And at the end, Mike was like, "Just go. Just don't run into nobody." Why did you want to spot for me?
Because I wanted you to make this the 50th Daytona 500. See, a few years ago, Kenny and I sat in his motorhome here, and we both didn't have a ride for the 500. And we looked at each other and says, never again that we're not going to have something to drive down here. Well, I finished 4th in the Daytona 500 here last year. Didn't have a chance this year to run. He had a shot, had a fast car, and is like, my God, I know how. I mean, it's huge. It's my brother. I mean, my gosh, this is.
There you go.
When he gets paid, he's buying dinner because it pays a lot of money to
We're the only brothers that finish in the top 10 every year at Daytona, and for some reason we're out of a ride. I think I don't know why that is, but it does not matter. This is a great day, and can I thank some people that were very instrumental. First of all, the story goes like this. I got fired by Furniture Row, and Barney Visser, the owner of Furniture Row, and Joe Garone said, "Hey, look, you know, we realize that we shouldn't have fired you. We want to give you an opportunity." And Joe Garone called me up, and I want to thank Joe Garone. I want to thank Barney very much. They said, "We want to give you an opportunity to come back and make the Daytona 500 on your own terms." That's what they said to me, and that's the truth in front of millions of people. They let me drive this car with a Hendrick motor in it. And I want to thank Barney Visser, Joe Garone for letting me prove my talent, and send a message to every great race car driver out there that, look at me. I mean, I made the Daytona 500 because I had
Wallace made the Daytona 500.
Yeah. Well, no, you know what? Bill Elliott once told me, he says, "Herm," he says, "you always have shoelaces hanging out of your mouth," because I always have my foot in my mouth. But the reality of it is that I always just tell the truth, and I catch hell for it all the time. But the truth is this. My brother Mike finished 4th in the Daytona 500 last year. Kenny Schrader, all these guys in their 40s are hell of a race car drivers. And you just got to have equipment, man. And this is, you know, I mean, that's all there's to it.
Just tell them now how happy you are.
Woo! Earnhardt!
There you go. That's the happy smile. Now let's go to Krista.
There you go.
And it is the story of the Gatorade Duel.
Exactly, yeah. Kenny Wallace sounds exactly the same today.
These are the results from
Coffee with
Gatorade
Kenny
Duel
sounds
number
exactly
one.
the same.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. obviously our winner, but the big story comes further back as you see the guys who made it and who did not. Kenny Wallace finished 8th, but he's in the show, as is Brian Vickers. And this is just the beginning. We knew
I think it might have been Caddis. I think it might have been the 98. I don't know.
These are the guys who will be watching the Daytona 500.
Was it the 98 500? I don't know. He had a real bad
AJ Allmendinger, Bill Elliott, Sterling Marlin, and Carl Long. But we
injury
are
there
just
during that
There's
one.
a whole another Gatorade Duel to go, and you will have a front row seat.
Yeah, good run for Bobby Labonte.
It is the last ticket to ride. Welcome back to Daytona for
It's time for some more
round two of the
junior
Duel,
content.
the round one winner. a very popular winner, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Let's go ahead and take a look at the highlights. Chris Devoto and Jeff Hammond with you for this Gatorade Duel coverage on Speed. And there's our old buddy, Jeff, DW, waving the green flag.
Yeah, waving that green flag.
Yeah, a ton of dodges in the first one. Very good point, Austin.
Said gets in the back of Brian Vickers in the 83 car. Around he goes. The roof flaps deployed. Stayed out of the wall. Got 4 brand new Goodyears and was able to transfer into this year's run in the Daytona 500.
Yeah, tough deal for Bill Elliott and Sterling Marlin joining the short list of DNQs, at least for the first race.
So he had the insurance policy.
That's what you're always looking for. But take a look right here. You see that right there? That's the 88 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Oh, Junior.
His teammate from last year, Martin Truex Jr.
And that's getting very familiar, isn't it? Here, a little bit of trouble for the 19 ping pong with the Hendrick cars, the 5 and the 48. But of course, the big story, that Hendrick car, the 88, is the winner. And the other winners in this race, Jeff,
there you see Kenny Wallace in opportunity.
Yeah, where are the drivers going that failed to qualify? No tires, just gas. I'm hitting home, I'm sure.
Once again,
it's
2 times in victory.
I always wonder about that, though, because, I mean, with some of these teams, I'm sure they want to get back and get ready for the next race. But when it's something this special and you got access to the Daytona 500, you know, it'd be cool to watch. But you're on a race team, I'm sure,
it would have been the
you know,
first
watching
time
is nothing. You want to actually race in it.
The 500 was run without a Wallace. And the Wood brothers, who've won this race 4 times and have 13 Daytona victories for the first time in 46 years. The number 21 will not be in the 500. Bill Elliott has to go home.
Yeah, that's sad. You know, these guys that aren't locked in to the top 35. That's what they have to deal with for well, most of the year, really. But I thought it was a great start. I mean, that start was it was impeccable.
Can you believe?
Isn't it unbelievable the Wood brothers didn't get a charter and they were in the top 35?
Good for him.
Yeah, it was. And, you know, you got to tip your hat to his new crew chief, Kevin Hamlin. Felt like that race car needed tires where he could maneuver that race car, and just a couple of things that I picked up on, certainly getting the balance of these cars. That's getting like standing on top of a razor blade and obviously making the right moves on pit road. But I tell you, they hadn't made a lot of noise during testing earlier in the week, but I tell you, the Dodges looked like they were driving awfully good.
Now, if history is any indicator, if we have a relatively clean first race, as we did today, watch out, Krista and Jeff. For race number 2, there's a good chance it could be a wreck fest.
Well, we could
oh boy, it's the one with Marco Waltrip,
the Gatorade Duel on Speed, and Jeff
Jerry
Hammond
McMurray.
and I have actually moved locations. We have scurried
the
over
Crown
to
Royal black
our
paint scheme, which was
box.
not a great paint scheme at all.
Jeff, so many storylines to talk about in that first duel.
I mean, McMurray had some really nice paint schemes in that Crown Royal car. The 06 scheme was great. The one he ran the rest of like 08, 09 was pretty good.
These guys are showing what they're made of. Remember, we talked about it. How bad do you want it? We're getting an opportunity to see this early on. And I believe one other thing, it's going to pick up. The intensity is really going to pick up in this second duel.
And we saw that emotion just with the Red Bull teammates. Vickers and Allmendinger out. A lot of guys watching that race who are about to race, their emotions have just got to be flying.
Well, that's another guy we don't need to forget about emotions. Boris said is not out of this race yet. If for some reason David Rudin was able to race his way into here, he'll be able to get in on speed. So you're talking about people right now that are praying and hoping that things may go right.
Much better year for the Wood brothers in 2011. Absolutely, Austin.
Well, I've already bit all of my nails off just watching that first.
You can see the driver intros over Krista's right shoulder there. Patrick Carpentier getting introduced.
Nervous, and he's got tons of experience too.
Well, the scenario for a man that has 3 Daytona 500 victories, Dale Jarrett, is pretty
Dale
simple.
Jarrett.
Race to weigh in.
Yep, that's what this is about. Always has been, and you know, so you know, we know what we got to do. Got to go out there, and hopefully our car is good enough. We can keep the tires on it and get ourselves in position.
Any emotions right now, Dale?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I wanna make this last Daytona 500 start. So you know, I'm anxious to get out there and see what we've got, and you know, nervous. I want my sponsors to be a part of this. You know, UPS and Coca-Cola have been great to me over the years, and so you know, yeah, hadn't had this position for quite a while, but you know, gets the blood flowing, and everything will be good.
We wish you luck.
Thanks a lot.
Let's go to Matt.
Well, Dale Jarrett's a 3-time Daytona 500 winner, but you know what? Rick Hendrick is one here with 3 different drivers in the 500. He's batting 1,000 so far in Speed Week. He's won the Budweiser Shootout.
Yeah, there you go.
Today, he won a duel, and he has a car on pole for Sunday. And next up is driver Jeff Gordon. He's trying to keep
very weird to see Jarrett in the 44 car. I agree.
The big thing for Gordon is like everyone else, trying to lock
So used to the
down
88,
a
and
spot
again,
on the
Junior Run the 88
outside
just
of
never
row
felt
number
right to me.
2,
It really
because
didn't.
everything
I know a lot of
here
people have fond
dictates
memories of
how
that
well
because he
you
did
run
have
is
it a
where
long
you
time.
start, and they know
But
starting up
Junior
front
is always the
will
8
be
car to
a
me.
very important issue come Sunday. Dick?
Within moments, Matt, Mark Martin is going to step into this U.S. Army car. It'll be his 24th time starting in one of these 150 milers. He has run 23 Daytona 500s. He has come ever so close. Last year, losing by a bumper. The crew has let him down. Engines have let him down. Rear ends have failed. All sorts of things have happened to him. He's never won the race. But Mark Martin knows how to handle the kind of situation he is about to get into, where tires are an issue, where the racing is incredibly intense. He is one of the most experienced, one of the smartest drivers in all of NASCAR. Let's go to Kristen.
One celebration is underway, another is developing. The gloves are off. The field in Duel 2
The gloves
is about to
are
roll
off.
down. The Gatorade Duel on speed next.
Okay.
Speed's presentation of the Gatorade Duel at Daytona is presented by Gatorade.
It's good to see a Daytona race with weather not really an issue,
Shell
at least in this one
stop
here.
Gunky buildup in your engine. Shell made to move.
Shell
And
made to
by
move.
Target. Expect more, pay less. It is the Gatorade Duel at Daytona on Speed, and if you are just joining us for this Speed Weeks, well, here's what you've missed. Basically, one word, Hendrick. It's been Hendrick domination. Dale
How
Jr. wins the
unusual.
Budweiser shootout for his new team. Jimmy Johnson sits on the pole, and just moments ago,
The
Dale Earnhardt
Junior
Jr. in
and
victory lane for the
Jimmy.
second time here at Daytona this week, winning race number 1 in the Gatorade Duel.
Speed racer
Voda
race. Yeah, there we
alongside
go.
Jeff Hammond down at our speed box on the front stretch. And Jeff, we heard Steve Burns talk to Dale Jarrett, one of the nervous guys before this race. But you and I were talking, Jarrett has a secret weapon in this race.
Not only does that one secret weapon, he's got two. And that's in the guys of the 55 car, Michael Waltrip, and the 00 of David Rudiman. We've already seen Kenny Wallace get some benefit from
Yeah,
his
we haven't
teammate
seen
Jimmy
any
Nemechek in the
MWR
first
cars
race.
yet.
These guys could be
There we
huge
go.
in getting this number 44 car into this race.
That's right, because the 55, the 00, they're
You see
locked in.
Jacques
Nothing
Villeneuve
to
in the
lose. What about
UNICEF
other guys
uniform
on the
there that he
bubble
wore
who
from
may be
Talladega the
sleeper
previous
story?
fall.
Well, I got to go with
There's
this
the
long
Aaron's
shot.
Dream
Stanton
Machine
Barrett
there.
starting all the way at the back of the pack, but in the final practice,
Rudiman
he was
shared
the
with
10th
Michael
quickest
McDowell
and the
that
fastest
year.
Chevrolet. He told me he's going to leave nothing on the table. Remember, he's a stuntman.
There's
He's not
Stan-
afraid of crashing.
There you go. Stan Barrett with the right side already scraped up.
Canyon here in Duel number 2, and you're going to see it all right here on Speed. There's
Stuntman Stan. Still pursuing an interview with him for that project. I have not forgotten about episode 10 of Rise of the Field Fillers. Next opportunity that comes up to do that one. I got a couple interviews I'm working on over this off season, but next opportunity we have on that, I think we'll get that where it needs to be. That'll be fun.
Behind the wheel, and our thanks to the crew up there. Some amazing pictures of this Gatorade Duel on Valentine's Day. How about another day? Race day. Sunday, you're not ready for the green flag until you've seen NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot. Yeah, Kenny Wallace looks happy there. And remember, he just made it into the 50th Daytona 500. The crew is going to get you pumped live Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern. NASCAR on Speed. Be there. There's Jeff Gordon. Look at little Ella. Wife Ingrid on hand to watch her husband Jeff get ready to race.
Yeah, Stanton unfortunately had a real trouble qualifying for races that year. It's unfortunate. It's a beautiful paint job he had.
Oh, I'm telling you, look good on you.
Let's go ahead and take a look. Here's the guys you're going to see racing in Duel number 2.
All right, now we got our Toyota heavy
They are in.
lineup here.
Racing on the front row.
That's right, because
You got your
Dale Jarrett
Blaney's,
is
you got your
also in this race
Hamlins,
a little further back. They're gonna
got
be
your
helping
Patrick
him along.
Carpentiers.
Remember, we did see some guys go to the back of the pack in this
Got
race.
Robbie, you got
Some
McMurray,
engine troubles, from
Eric
practices,
McClure in a
engine
front row
changes.
car.
And they are
Schrader
gonna be
for
heading back.
Bab.
And we talked about Jeff Gordon there. He is one of the guys. You're going to see Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, Denny Hamlin, and a new name
Yeah.
there, Jeff. Another guy going to the back.
Yeah, but he's new. I mean, he's a rookie. Maybe you need to kind of cut him a little bit of slack, but you need to
Hurry up,
watch
Frankie. There
those
you go.
three guys right there.
Last
Even though
row
they're
there.
driving 20,
That is
you watch
indeed Front Row
Jeff Gordon
Motorsports.
team up with
The
Tony
number
Stewart
34 there
and
with John
Denny Hamlin and
Andretti.
work their way to the front.
See what he can do.
And we need to
There's
point out,
Dario with no
is going to the
sponsorship.
back of the
Dodge
pack
basically was
because he
sponsoring him
late
this weekend.
to the drivers' meeting. You mentioned he's a rookie. He's new. He's just kind of
Coors Light backed out. and became, I believe it became the title sponsor for the pole award that year. That kind of screwed things up, unfortunately.
He understands how important that really is, because driver introductions is like driver's meet. You don't want to miss it, because
the Flying Scotsman, Dario Franchitti.
That is going to be another storyline in this race. You've got Dario Franchitti, Patrick Carpentier, and Jacques Villeneuve, all relatively new guys to the stock car experience.
Exactly right, and Dario's the only one that's actually locked into this situation right now. The rest of them have got to get up on the wheel.
Villeneuve,
he's ran really well in the past in these heavy stock cars, but he has a little.
So you know, again, the open wheel invasion in full effect here these couple of years.
Interesting to see how he adapts to this real intense race.
They used a Kodak in 2006. You know, I didn't. That's a good question there, Death Killer. I had a digital camera when I was recording the footage that's on the YouTube channel there, and I was starting to take pictures that year. I don't think, probably in 05 though, I was still using a Kodak. I was still using like old development. That was probably the turning point there. We got a digital camera in like 05, 06 there, and I started using that much more. We weren't at Sears Points in 2005, so we didn't cover any races that year. But I know 03 was the last one I'd gone to before that era, and we used like a photo that you had to get the pictures developed afterwards. So I got pictures from 2003 that were from then. So that was probably last time I used one at a racetrack. And tried a different camera in 07 that had a better zoom on it there. And then, of course, by that point, right on the edge of phones taking off and really being your camera there at that point. So an interesting time period for sure. Good question.
Head-to-head live in a winner-take-all dash for cash. The NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race only on Speed. NASCAR on Speed. Be there. But of course, before we get to the All-Star Race, we've got a lot of racing still to come, and it all starts right here at Daytona with the Gatorade Duel. Chris Devoda, Jeff Hammond on the Speed Box for Speed's coverage of the Gatorade Duel. And Jeff, what's happening out there right now? What's going through these guys' minds that are about to race?
Well, everybody right now, their guts are just twisted in a knot. But I know from a personal experience being a crew chief, I've been watching.
Yeah, we still had film developed in 2003. Yeah, I did. I still remember that.
They've been watching Speed. They've been learning things from all the conversations.
Yeah, 04. Let's see. We took a cruise in 04, and I'm pretty sure we still used like developed film that year even. 05, I'm not as clear. 05, we might have transitioned into it, which is interesting because you think about when Kodak was sponsoring teams was around the same. You know, they left Morgan McClure in 03 into 04, and 04, 05 they kind of were scaling back their sponsorship with the 77 team, and then by 06, yeah, I think they were pretty much out. Like they did a few starts with like Penske, and that was about it.
Second time around, Jeff said these guys have been sitting in their coaches. They've been watching the coverage on Speed just like you. Now they are ready to fire the engines. Let's go back downstairs for the command to start.
Awesome helmet for Gordon there. Some big names in this race.
Fans, it's time now for race 2 of today's Gatorade Duel. Please welcome Grand Marshal, Senior Vice President of Marketing and Advertising for Lowe's, Mr. Bob Gaffaler, for the most famous words in motorsports.
Bob Gaffar.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Woo! All right. So who you got for the second duel here? Big names throughout. So we got your. You got how many Jeffs, how many Toyotas, how many open wheel guys, and then Michael Waltrip.
The final train for Sunday's Daytona 500 leaves the gate.
Yeah, it sounds like Bob Jafar, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah, Beast of Metal, that'd be a good idea. I mean, they definitely have like projectors you can like take old slides and old film and actually turn it into digital prints pretty easily. Definitely recommend that. Robbie and Mark and Harvick and Kyle Busch. Oh, David Reagan crashing for no reason. Oh, speaking of no reason, yeah, that wreck. For some of these drivers in the hype reel, they only have shots of them crashing. They don't have shots of them winning.
It's a perfect day for racing. Blue skies in Daytona as duel number 2.
Yeah, Caterpillar car.
The Gatorade Duel coverage on Speed. The weather is calm, but the drivers are anything but.
Oh, snap.
Our cool, calm, collected, and sometimes crazy trio, DW, Larry Mack, and Mike Joy.
TheFreeCreditReport.com, number 38.
Pick one of the three above.
Pick me.
Oh, this could be the wild one. Well, now, you got Patrick Carpentier, Jacques Villeneuve. They're superstars in the forms of racing they're familiar with. But it's their first ever stock car race at Daytona. What do they need to do? Because they need to race their way in.
I think those guys have certainly got their issues because of lack of experience, and particularly here at Daytona in the draft. But I think the thing that all these guys in this race have to put out.
Yeah, the Valvoline car was pretty nice.
Tire issues from the first one.
The Carpentier car.
I don't
made a nice diecast too. The diecast that year was pretty peak. They made 2 car sets with like a track car for Daytona, and then like a lot of the big names. So it'd be like, you know, Junior for sure, Gordon, Harvick, Kane, like those guys there. That was like kind of the big ones.
Well, I think you do what you did.
And they had other ones like, you know, the 2008 schedule or the 50th anniversary Daytona 500. I had a calendar, a monthly calendar that year that I used actually for the cover illustration of the starting grid video. That's what that was from. That was the cover of the calendar. And it had moments, of course, from the 500's history in there.
That easily doesn't. It never works out that easy.
It does from up here.
Oh, Bulgogi 77. Good question. I did not feel the earthquake on Thursday. Very good question though. But at work we had a connection through a Zoom call that was closer to where it was, and they felt it. So yeah, kind of a crazy thing. But yeah, thankfully we didn't. But definitely eye-opening. That Cascadia fault zone there is very active, and I was surprised that the edge closer to Mendocino was affected more than the one over like Seattle direction.
Trying to race their way in.
So yeah, definitely eye-opening for sure.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I was at work during that.
We know during testing and even leading up to these races. Now these will be the
do the 2008 Food City 500. We'll see young Harrison Burton. There you go. So that's kind of the thing here. It's like it captures. It's definitely a time capsule in these races.
Dario Franchitti missed driver introduction.
I don't know why Smoke wore the mullet that year. That was strange. He went to Toyota. He ran that one year. He won. He got the Talladega win from Regan Smith, and then he just left to start his own team. It was kind of a very strange year for Stewart. Very strange.
Let's see if they continue the strength they've been showing all during the offseason and this week.
Second verse, same as the first.
Nothing's changed. One less car, 26 cars, 60 laps, 150 miles. The fuel pit window, I think we'll see them hit pit road a little sooner than that, just to be conservative on the tire side. 44 to 46 laps, pit road speed 55. I'd say we'll see pit stops somewhere between lap 30 and 35 as we did the first race.
I think the thing to watch here is if Michael and David Rudeman, the front row guys here, how they work with Dale Jarrett to see if they can get Dale in this race some way.
Steve Burns?
Well, Mike, last year was a struggle for Michael Waltrip Racing. Look at the signboard. Nice guns, Michael. A lot of strength this year for Michael Waltrip Racing. As you said, he's going to start up front.
I need to pit the car right here.
Is in this race, and he is going to do everything he can do, Michael, that is, to get Dale Jarrett.
Okay, so yeah, he's not running the gold rims. He's running the silver or like a chrome
Steve,
ones,
you
rather.
Can a lot from 60 laps of racing.
But yeah, if you watch like the opening laps of the 2008 500, you'll see Michael at least with the golden rims. It looks really cool. It was a really cool idea. It was at least for the first tire run. Then he ran like the chrome ones after that.
When the tires are fresher.
Kudos to Eric McClure here in the race too.
You do your move late when the tires are worn out, but now the way it looks, everyone riding the high line, you can't get down to the bottom. So look for a lot of guys to work their strategy earlier than we would have expected. Dick?
Car number 10 is driven by the Canadian Patrick Carpentier, and as Mike Joy told you, he is an expert,
a threat from Joliet
in open-wheel IndyCar type racing.
There it is. That's a nice scheme. Very clean.
Formerly known as Busch Cars, now Nationwide, and 2 starts in these kinds of cars. But he has never run a restrictor plate race. He has never raced on anything like the oval at Daytona. How raw a rookie is this guy? Last night, he went across the street from the Speedway, walked into a bookstore, bought 2 books. One on the history of NASCAR, one on the history of Daytona. Mike?
I love that. I remember him bringing up that detail. I thought that was really cool.
Let's see if he can race his way into the field. Now, once again, our ticker across the top of the screen. The position number will have a gray background if the driver's locked into the race. If he's in one of the 2 transfer spots, it will be green. Not yet raced his way in, it will be yellow. And the picture now becomes clearer that Kurt Busch has taken the champion's provisional and that Joe Nemechek is
Has Valvoline ever had a bad paint scheme? You know, the only one I could think of, I remember that Mark Martin ran like a gray paint scheme for like the synthetic version in 1998, and I didn't like that one. It looked like a test car. So probably just that one. Other than that, yeah, no. I mean, Mark Martin's schemes were gorgeous. Johnny Benson's were great. Yeah, Scott Riggs were great. All those, you know.
That is Ced's only chance if Ruderman races in.
I think
yeah, the 2006, 2007, like those were so good.
I am on the
yeah, the transition between MB2 and Evernham, those were pretty cars. 06 was probably the peak. 07 was up there. I mean, not so much on the car tomorrow, but the old car. But 06 was really nice. Scott Riggs should have won the 600 that year, but that was a heartbreaker.
We'll work on this thing tomorrow on Saturday. Let me get out of here.
Yeah, William Byron's haven't been that good. Yeah,
Mike, just want to follow
the more
up
recent
on what
ones,
Jeff
I
Hammond
suppose.
said. He was exactly right. The teams have been watching the first race. DJ Spotter, Roman Pemberton.
And more 500 days
hey,
coming up, by the
Earnhardt
way.
Jr.
So you'll
won
see
his
some more
race by
Valvoline paint
staying up
schemes in
top.
those too, for
the
sure.
The tires will not last on the bottom.
Oh, that actually looks pretty nice there. Forgot how nice Jarrett's cars look.
Talk about Kyle Busch. Matt talked about him a while ago in the 18 car. The only Joe Gibbs car that did not elect to change the engine because of this lifter camshaft coating problem. What I found out this morning talking to Steve Addington,
Busch.
they elected, since there was a little
His
bit
first
of a
start for
working problem,
Gibbs.
this is the engine they did all the January testing with. This engine had no problems. Maybe why they're not quite as fast as the other two cars, so it'll be anxious to see how that car drives in the race, because he will be coming from fairly deep in the field.
Robbie's car is a Dodge. I've never... Well, I mean, this version of the paint scheme I wasn't that crazy about. When he ran kind of the Menards paint schemes in like 06 was good. That was really good. And then like later on when he did the Speed Energy Dodges, like 2011 thereabouts, 2012, those looked really nice.
And sometimes that just can cause you all kind of problems come off that corner.
Yay, David
See a little
Reagan.
tape on the 6 right there, got an extra piece on. Haven't noticed on anybody else.
Little sun visor of tape.
There's
there on the windshield.
Villeneuve behind him and Carpentier ahead of him.
His second Daytona 500 start, finished 5th last year.
Here's what they'll be looking at, and just in a little bit, that sun will be where you really are blinded as you come off turn 4.
And the spotters are blinded looking at these cars because they're coming directly
Yeah, now we got
at
the sun a little later in the day here.
60 laps, 150
Alrighty,
miles.
getting ready for the
Car
start
makes
of
the
race
sharp
2.
turn onto pit road.
What do you say? Want to give him a boogie? Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing, boys!
Good jump by Ruderman. Ebays and David Reagan. Favorite scheme in this field? I don't know, man. It's tough. It's tough. Barrett's is nice. Carpentier's is nice. I mean, I really like all three of the Michael Waltrip ones. I like the Bill Davis car there for Blaney.
And he will get a pass-through penalty.
That wasn't necessary.
Well, not a good idea, Ruderman.
The jump. I'm not talking about the flag. They had no choice.
Michael Waltrip's isn't bad. I mean,
just had mentioned this. Who's going to hate to see that black flag is Boris Said standing in the garage area, because as you mentioned, if Ruderman can race his way in, Boris Said will get in on speed. But you'll see David Ruderman probably the next time by have to make that trip down pit road. He doesn't have to stop, just maintain pit road speed.
yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Ruderman's is awfully nice, but Blaney's is right up there. I mean, I know it's basically the same Caterpillar car from the Gen 6 era there, or the rather the previous generation era.
The rest of the field going by at 190.
The old car, but Gen 4, I suppose.
Oh, Canada. Jacques Villeneuve on the inside in that Bill Davis racing Dodge. Patrick Carpentier up on the high side. Darrell, all the years I've been coming to Daytona, the license plate I most often see around here that's not Florida is Quebec.
Got a lot of fans in Canada, but one thing
Quebec.
David Ruderman has to really, really be careful of right here. He's
Yikes.
doing a good job. Everything's going to
Cut
be
out a
fine.
lot really good. Ooh, aggressive move there. Villeneuve and get in front of Kyle Busch. Almost swiped his nose off there.
We just completed lap 2. I talked about him just right before the start of the race. Look at the 18 car Kyle Busch making his way to the front.
Don't know Beast Metal. I'd have to track that down. I think it does trace to R&J. It may, because this would be after like the merger with.
With all the Toyotas in this race, that Toyota just might.
Goodness, yeah, you had front row in Mach 1, and then R&J kind of factors into it too.
Top 10 in that number 31.
That gets to be a real tangle. I'd have to run that to ground. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, they were well past the starting point. That white line back on the track. Michael chose not to go, and they
big jump.
waited on him.
But that's the restart line, Daryl. You cannot cross the start-finish line before the pole man, and Rudeman did.
Oh, yes, Jamie Deloach, thank you for asking. Yeah, I talked about this a little bit earlier, but we're going to do another episode of Rise of the Field Fillers. That's, in fact, the next video, produced video, that is, that's coming to this channel. I've been editing it this weekend. I need to add some more graphics and stuff to kind of get it finished. But yes, the next episode of that series is going to be more than likely the next video on this channel here. And then I got a couple of scripts I'm going to try to finish up after that, which is going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to have a lot more stuff coming up here to the channel very soon.
That's the thing. It's so frustrating to
Ooh, boy. Barrett getting right in front of Hamlin.
Going down the back. Then see how many cars he passes back in the corner. It's a real yo-yo effect. You go up, you go back, you go up, you go down.
Hell yeah. Blaney getting in the breakaway here.
Last year, Dale Earnhardt
that should be a Quapple in the K&N paint scheme there for the number 28 from Yates. Miss McMurray's Grand Royal black car. Again, not a great paint scheme. Very plain. I get what they're going for, but I mean the purple car was so much nicer.
And then had a lot of problems. They said they really got this.
Any races next season, Caddis? Yeah, good question. Definitely Sears Point in July. Definitely Phoenix in November. From there, we're still kind of backfilling it. We're kind of torn between doing maybe Vegas in March and or maybe a couple races in May, perhaps even Talladega in Texas. That's kind of what we're looking at the moment. I'll have more details on that as we start kind of getting those details together and figuring that out. But yes, definitely looking to do some more trackside stuff. I know we scaled back on that the latter half of this year, and yeah, had some scheduling conflicts that we had to kind of work with. But next year, I'm hopeful that we're going to get back up to maybe doing 3 or 4 races, which would be great. And yeah, we'll be doing that again. But stay tuned on my Twitter feed as well as my Patreon at Lasker on Brock. I put updates on that in my newsletter that I send out as well. I'll be working on a new one of those for January. Love to do Indy, yeah, one of these days. That we haven't forgotten about that. Love to do even the Indy 500. Probably just do that as a fan if we did. I don't know if I do it as media, at least not the first time out. But Brickyard 400 would be something I'd be open to doing. You know, we'll see. We really enjoyed doing Kansas this year, and I know we have a lot of viewers of you guys in the Midwest, so we haven't forgotten about that. We were able to make Kansas work this year, which is great. Maybe we can do something else like that. You know, go out to Iowa, go out to Gateway, go out to one of those places. I really love to do some of these new tracks getting added. I mean, Rockingham getting back on there. I know that's not East Coast, or not Midwest, but more East Coast, but still.
Stanton Barrett, part-time team, only planning on running 4 races. Again, he's right up there on the fringe of being in the transfer spot.
Absolutely, Caddis, yeah. No, I'll definitely stay tuned for any of the races I'm going to. Well, again, definitely Sears Point, definitely Phoenix for November, and Sears Point in July, but it's the spring part of the schedule we're still figuring out. So we're going to get that worked out. But we got time to figure it out, so that'll be good. We're not going to be at the Clash in Bowman Gray, though. I can tell you that. We're not going to do that. But we'll get... we're figuring things out. Love to do the 500 one day. I don't think next year is going to be the year, but we'll see. Oh, yeah, K&N won with Timothy Peters. Yeah, very good point.
Oh, that 28 looks familiar, Larry.
It looks great.
There you go, the black and red, yep.
When Davey Allison or Ernie Irvin drove it.
There's Gilliland.
Mike, sounds like trouble for Jeff Burton. He just said it's bouncing up and down on the right rear. I'm bringing it in.
Yeah.
Of course, we know that Jeff Burton is locked into the Daytona 500. This is the Daytona 500 car. Don't take a chance, like Daryl said.
Austin, though, thank you very much.
Hit pit road.
Harvick slides up track in front of Stanton Barrett as Burton downshifts.
Yeah, we definitely got to do Indy one of these days. If we do Indy, we're going to definitely make sure everybody knows well in advance for sure. So we'll be have to be checking things out.
The way Jeff came on pit road right there tells me he's not real excited about getting back out there. Kind of brought her in nice and
Michael looking very racy here. He spun out Dale Jr. in his duel in 07. wasn't part of a great week on top of the jet fuel debacle and everything else.
How many times he's changed lanes since this race started?
But here, the outside pole qualifying effort had a very good start to the week. Good job, Blaney.
And then releasing before they get to the banking.
That Blaney is, I mean,
good job, Stanton Barrett, right there in the top 10. Very, very fast.
Sat there and rode great.
Starting towards the back of the field.
There he is, right back up there again.
I think Blaney has longer. That could change.
Yep. I don't know why it's skipping like that. That's just in the broadcast there. I noticed it did that a little bit during the halfway break.
Is the transfer cars. The 50 and the 10 car you see there, but there comes Villeneuve on the inside, the 27 car.
Villeneuve? Yeah, I know, it's that name's a mouthful. I'm trying to think about how Sir Murray Walker would say it. Villeneuve.
He is backing off and letting them go.
That's right, Beastwell. Yeah, you joined up during Darlington. There you go. Get your name on the magnet and all that. We'll be doing the magnets again whenever we do our trackside stuff. We're going to go back to the KOA for Sears Point in July, so that's going to be fun. We really enjoyed that this year. Last bro was feeling a little under the weather, but hopefully it'll be better this time around. I think that'll be good.
Tony Stewart has slid to the back of the pack.
That's surprising.
Now watch Villeneuve.
I live just an hour away from where, Big G? Are you from Indy or?
Oh yeah.
Whoa, Jacques! Yikes!
You may not like that wing, but you ought to get
all
out and
over
hug
the
it
place.
every once in a while. But I'm telling you, that thing is saving some guys from wrecking.
But you know, in yesterday's practice, he was in the high side and his car bottom up. He actually got into the outside wall in turn 4.
Villeneuve now battling Kevin Harvick.
The thing about this is, Larry, you can't bring her in and work.
Oh, in Indianapolis. Oh, right on, Big G.
You got to stay after it. You got to get right back in there like that never
I know we had a lot of viewers in Kansas. I didn't think about how many viewers we had in Indiana. We'll have to definitely check that out. That's definitely going to be on the list, whether it's a Brickyard or an Indy 500. I haven't ruled that out.
Just to update the man we talked to before this race, man, trying to make his final Daytona 500 start. Dale Jarrett right now in the 44 car is in the 20th position.
And among the go homers, Larry, he is 6th in class.
But I believe Dale's being smart. He knows we've got that pit stop. He knows we're kind of lurking with some tire issues.
Yeah, IRP. Oh, man. They put on such good Truck Series races. I imagine anything else that runs there looks great. They still should run the Xfinity Series there. I think with the current package, they would really put on a show that, just like the classic races there. You know, your Michael Waltrip, Randy LaJoie era.
Tight, Mike, is when that car hits the bump stops on the bumps.
12 laps of that commercial break. Don't jinx it, hot dog. Don't jinx it.
Trying to take the lead. Want to follow up on Jeff Burton in the 31. The tires look fine, but he just told crew chief Scott Miller he thinks they may have a broken shock.
Oh, that's not good.
Blaney,
a rough ride.
Blaney
trying it. Ooh, he's going to try to side draft it. Ooh, Kenseth all over Waltrip. You're going to have a 3-car wreck here. Yikes. Just about hooked him there.
He got knocked down on the apron, it looked like, over there going into turn 3. The 55 car.
A little too much bump.
That was pretty tight. Old Kenseth was just going to plow his way through there.
Below the yellow line. Let's take a look at it.
What happened here? He and Blaney are side by side, and
he must have just got him loose right into the 22. Right there. Yikes.
Michael tried to get down in front and help Blaney, and they made contact.
No, I think Kenseth just about turned Waltrip right into Blaney.
Cut it a little too
close. Just wasn't quite clear.
Bonk.
There you saw the in-car shot.
That at that point on the track, that would have just wiped out the entire field there, or at least a good chunk of it.
Go down there. That's illegal. Anything below that yellow line, and you advance your position.
Ooh, can't go below the yellow line. Yeah.
Toward the back of the pack, Darrell, and I think he might have gotten bumped down below the yellow line.
Forced down, and look who's trying to get up here and take the lead.
Casey Kane. His first race with Budweiser as a sponsor.
He'll lead him back to the line.
There's always a weird union
that was
there.
Pretty impressive. I think right now you can make that pass on the bottom. You still got enough grip in the tires. You can hang down there for a little while, but as soon as you make the pass, right back to the top.
There goes Kenseth in the 17 to the bottom. He's going to slide in front of Michael Waltrip. He wants to lead back.
The circle's a little smaller.
Kenseth getting back up the front there.
Take quite as long to get there.
And there he is, Darrell.
Oh, there we go. Grant Enfinger and Zane Smith. That's a good battle. I like it.
He's right up there behind Casey Kane in that 9.
You got Harvick in the picture.
Way from the back to the front.
Still just so rough in the corners. I love it. Look at the way you feel it sitting in your seat here, just hopping up and down. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I just told the guys.
Villeneuve and Mikey and McMurray,
who was pushed down
and
below the
Franchitti
yellow line earlier, had smashed the wall, and I believe that's Franchitti behind him.
Those
wow.
Are hard licks.
Absolutely murdered
Stanton,
that car.
It was not Franchitti, it was Stanton Barrett. There's Franchitti's blue car right behind Jamie Mack. Now there's some damage to the left front of Jamie's car.
Yeah, absolutely destroyed Villeneuve's car. Man, oh man.
It looked like if we look at this again, I think
brutal. Look at all the concrete dust in the right side of
something happens to
Barrett's car. And the damage to the rim on Villeneuve's. Andretti just stuck his nose in there and couldn't save it.
Just loosened the car up.
Oh, just clobbered Barrett. Wow.
Nowhere for Stanton Barrett to go.
Just nothing he can do. Nothing he can do. This is just brutal.
Took a hard hit into the safer barrier.
Just
See, it's going through the dips, going through the bumps, and the car was getting on the loose side. It just
hooked hard to
the racetrack.
I mean, Villeneuve almost corrected it, but it was just out of control going up the track. He's going to hit something. He's going to hit a car or the wall.
Yesterday, same place. Get into the dips in the track, got a little bit loose, and went up. No one was there that time.
Bam!
The outside wall.
Yeah, just tail slapped him there. Got him in the.
Car had a little bit of
actually managed to miss the left front of Barrett's car, but got the left rear real bad.
That
just
was
stuffed him in the fence.
Stanton Barrett.
It really was, and Jamie Mack too, because his back wheels popped up off the ground. He hit so hard.
We're quite sure pit road's going to be a busy place, but right now it's closed because of Stanton Barrett's car.
Ooh, yeah, you can see Franchitti stuck between McMurray and Barrett.
Another wild season of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series begins right here at Daytona tomorrow. Right here on
or McMurray and Villeneuve, perhaps. Like Barrett was already coming down the banking.
For 2008. Kyle Busch is going to be in that truck race tomorrow night.
That shadow made it look like there was a bumper bar hanging out from under Kyle's car, but there's not. It's just the shadow there.
Stuntman Stanton Barrett owns
Stuntman
the race
Stan.
car number 50, and his chances to get in the 500 looked pretty good until the 34 of John Andretti popped up. Got the 27 of Jacques Villeneuve, maybe just a little bit loose. And here we go.
That's exactly what happened. I mean, he got in under him just enough to loosen him up.
Oh, man, Franchitti. Wow.
Dale Jarrett down on the apron.
Franchitti just hooked bumpers with McMurray and just turned them both in the fence.
Jamie McMurray.
It's a savage hit.
See, it was just enough moving. There was a dip right there. You see the back of the car go down? And the 34 going by, and then the back end in that dip, and it just loosened him up, and he can't hang on to her. Probably would have been all right if had been anybody there.
Barrett was running in the right place, just at the wrong time.
Yeah, lime green and purple, Charles. Yeah, the 49 car does stand out. Not one of the best paint schemes. Number kind of gets lost in the design there. It's like almost like a hot pink and lime green.
And again, I anticipate when we do open pit road that we're going to be almost a third of the way through this thing. You'll see them all hit pit road.
Now, Jamie McMurray and Dario Franchitti are locked into the Daytona 500 on car owner points. But Jacques Villeneuve and Stanton Barrett will head home.
You heard the report that Jeff Burton, his tires looked good when he hit pit road a while ago, that he felt like he may have a broken shock. Just explain, NASCAR issues the rear shocks to everybody to race. You race your own front shock package, so we'll be anxious to see what happens here or what the
I
deal
don't want
is.
those cars slammed down to
Cleanup
qualifying there.
Up in turn number 4.
Used to be a fun era of that.
Complete.
Oh goodness, whose car is that? Barrett's car was in the grass, so I don't know
Here's
what
look
his.
at the lineup. 18 laps into our second Gatorade Duel. Let's go to pit road. Dick Berggren.
Well, Matt Kenseth will pit out of the lead to the
Frankitti's
attention of his crew. Big conversation
McMurray's
between
probably down
Kenseth
that far
and
to the
his
wall.
new crew chief, Chip Bolin, about what to do with the car. Kenseth has told them,
Orange numbers on the
"That's up
roof
to
there
you.
for Kenseth.
You're
Looks
the crew
nice.
chief." So they've decided to make some minor adjustments to the car to try to tighten it up a little bit. Kenseth in particular concerned about the guys who are the go or go homers. He doesn't want to get in their way. He doesn't want to spoil their chances of getting into the Daytona 500.
And Mike, I can appreciate that because the last thing a driver wants to hear from the crew chief is,
all right, coming down
what
pit
do you wanna
road, maybe
do?
going through the new stage
What do I
rye with
wanna
the
do? You're the guy in there calling
synthetic
the shots.
oil use.
Looks like to me the only one left on the racetrack is Brett Bodine in a pace car. Dick.
Brett Bodine, the pace car.
Well, here's Kenseth now. They've allowed an 8th man to go over the wall to do the windshield and service the driver, Matt.
And in the bottom of your screen, Jeff Gordon, he says his car is good. I really don't want any changes on this 24 machine. Steve.
Same thing for Michael Waltrip, Matt. He said my car is perfect, perfect, perfect. Don't touch it, just change tires. He said I have a car capable of winning the Daytona 500.
That's right. Yep, Jacques Villeneuve did make the 527.
The killer bees, that pit crew for Matt Kenseth.
That other group
they
there,
look the same as they've always had.
Hesburgh group.
And Casey Kane,
Josh Rubin's team.
Blaney installed the motor on his car. You can see him pushing it there. They can only push it so far. New rule.
Pit stop's complete. A lot of speedy dry to clean up in turn 4, though.
That's a very old Denny Hamlin picture.
Getting
My
set
goodness.
for a restart after pit stops. Trouble for
There you go, Brett Bodine cameo. Still looking for more of those.
Pit. Eventually, they got him push started, and Blaney will rejoin tail end of the field. There is still a bit of cleanup to be done in turn number 4. Not sure. I believe we're going to go green this time. We'll see.
You see Blaney right here. He's getting ready to come out of his pit box.
Yeah, maybe it is purple and green. I thought it was like pink, but yeah, the 49 there.
Past your own, so he can only
very
go
weird
about
paint
right along
scheme.
in there, and then they got to back up and try it again.
And that's a new rule that NASCAR put in.
It's like a very, very reddish purple.
Mainly for safety. We are getting a report that it's a battery issue on the 22 car.
Man, how can it be a battery issue? We hadn't run but just a few laps, 20
Well, there
laps.
you go.
I'll be able to cut everything
It's
off.
interesting. I noticed earlier when they showed Carpentier's car, there was a sponsor for Valvoline, not only on the TV panel, but the top of the TV panel in the gap where the spoiler was. Because they got the rear wing, of course, instead of the regular spoiler. It was interesting to see that.
While idling under caution, he switched to the backup ignition box. He says now it appears that the motor is fine.
One thing, I'm glad they rethought that one to
There's
go.
Boris.
Went up there and got that stage right.
That's Boris stands out even in silhouette there.
There you see Boris said, Mike talked about it before the race. We know that he did not race his way into the Daytona 500, but he is pulling. In fact, he's sitting on David Rudiman's pit box because he's pulling for David Rudiman to race his way in, and Boris would be in on speed.
Dick Berggren.
With Jacques Villeneuve, he has now walked out of the care center. How big a setback is this to your program, an unsponsored car out of the top 35 in points?
Well, that's a big setback. It's a shame because the whole crew, the whole team had worked really hard to get us here. The car was really fast. It was just a little bit too loose now, and we got loose one time too many.
Well, this speaks volumes about how difficult this racing is. Yeah, and we're going to try to run right over here to Stanton Barrett. Stanton, tell us about what happened out there, bud.
I don't know. I had a great car with an Us Energy Chevrolet, and we were making our way to the front and made a move and got up in the back. But we had a car to make the race today, and just unfortunate for us. And I don't know. I saw a car check up. I was already outside of them, and then I could see way in the corner of my eye some smoke, and I knew there was something going on. And then I saw Jacques' car come up in front of me and took a hard impact and took us out of the race. But thank God everybody's all right, and we're able to all race again the next week. And we'll try to go have fun next on the Busch race Saturday. And it's a real bummer for us because I think we really had a car to make the race this year.
But he is a just never give up guy. We'll see you next week in California.
You don't get anywhere giving up.
And the thing about
there you
Stanton,
go.
I don't know how many people.
I mean, that's very true to Stanton there too. I mean, he's always so quiet, so very mild mannered. It was very the one interview I did do with him. He was. It's very hard for him to come out of his shell and talk a lot about his career. Hopefully, we still have that opportunity.
He's the car owner as well.
But very determined individual. He's been in the sport a very long time.
That crash. Ken Schrader, a two-time pole sitter for the Daytona 500.
There's an even closer look at that green and purple car.
Green. He is currently in the field.
Yeah, it does look kind of like an old Blaze Alexander car, Ross Chastain fan. Yeah, kind of does. It stands out. It does that. From a distance, you kind of need that.
In the number 10, the Valvoline car, are the two cars that right now are in position. Right behind Schrader, Dale Jarrett, John Andretti, David Rudiman, Eric McClure trying to race their way in. Pace cars in.
Yeah, a little bit like the spree car too, Javier. Yeah, very true.
Take the green.
See the Fox track
Single file restart again. Lap 23 on the board.
Miles per hour to take the green flag.
Let's see. Nationwide Xfinity Series switched to the Challenger already. I'm trying to remember what year that was.
I would, but I hope.
You know, I do think it will possibly for a little bit. We've got 38 laps to go. Everyone can make it from
I think it was because their car tomorrow wasn't until like 2010. So I think it was just when they changed it at that point. And those are really interesting Dodges. Those are very distinctive looking cars.
Looking back for Michael Waltrip and the defending 500 champion, Kevin Harvick.
Sounds like he likes that 55 car today. So he got a car that can win the 500, and certainly where he starts.
Kane getting shaken out down there.
And he's driving down under Kevin Harvick right here.
Waltrip going way low.
Turns 1 and 2 in deep shade. 3 and 4 still in bright sunlight.
I don't believe Stanton has won a Cup, Xfinity, or truck race. I don't think he has. He's been in contention before.
I mean, just like he is right now. He went around that high side.
I don't recall. I don't believe so.
From his former teammate Kyle Busch in that 18 car.
Here they come. Got one smoking off turn 2.
Blaney
there.
That'll be Blaney.
Yeah, I guess it was more than a battery.
Caution will wave.
Caution's out.
As certain we can't say it's the same problem, but remember the Toyotas, they have been.
Well, one car did sound like it had a
the entire
X pipes there. That sounded like it was Blaney's.
That's not a battery problem.
No, not at all.
Yeah, no wins in Xfinity, Cup, or trucks for Stanton Barrett.
We're hearing that Michael Waltrip did
He's had
Jeff Gordon back to the
one Truck Series start. He had 206 in Xfinity and 25 in Cup.
So he is the leader.
Something to remember about these engines.
And he's still attempting races. Actually, I think he was just active on his Facebook earlier showing pictures of a car he was running. So very big in like sports cars and road racing and that kind of thing. Which is pretty true to what his earlier career was like too.
We haven't seen ever at Daytona.
Steve Burns, what's wrong with Blaney?
Mike was just listening to Dave talk to his crew chief, Tommy Baldwin. At first, he thought an oil line may have come off. He said he didn't feel this engine seize up, but he has no oil pressure. They're going to take it to the garage.
Blaney is in the 500 based on car owner points.
And that's, you know, Dave Blaney last year had the best Toyota all year long. Had an opportunity a couple, 3 times, I thought, to win a race. Always plagued by bad luck. Cut a tire down, getting a wreck of no fault of his own.
I think it's unfortunate it changed much from 01 there for Blaney.
Boy, if he could just get that monkey off his back, I believe he could win some races.
There you go.
Boris said still sitting on top of David Ruderman's pit box.
Barrett's best break, it probably was in that Autobahn car.
Right now,
it's interesting to see how that deal came together. You know, that things were kind of changing. You had Biffle going on to the Cup Series and what was going to go on with that program. And he got some poles because, you know, qualifying was rained out and that gave him the pole there. It just sounded like things just didn't quite work out. Again, Barrett, it would take, I don't think it's anything that would suffice to do one interview. I think it would take multiple ones, you know, unless he really, last conversation we had very briefly, I mean, he started opening up on some other things. We just never really kind of found a time to kind of review it since then. He is probably the busiest individual I've probably ever run into. I mean, I've had people that, you know, run their own businesses or are involved in other, you know, racing or anything like that. But I believe that it was another one of his friends that described him as a furnace of activity, and I think that's true. Even now, you know, to some of these drivers, and it's really, I think it's easy to take it for granted that in some cases somebody, you know, you'd be available to sit down for an hour, maybe 2, to talk about things. But, you know, Stan doesn't really give himself that much time. I think that's just the way it is.
Exactly your scenario to make the 500.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a rad shirt for Boris, by the way.
Go homer, so I'm his new best friend, and it's nerve-wracking. I mean, it's just, you want to make the Daytona 500 so bad, and, you know, my Slurpee 711 car was so good in the race, I just lost the right rear tire and got behind and couldn't really find any help out there, so hopefully maybe we'll get a little lucky and get in.
Good luck, Boris. Mike?
He'll need to be lucky.
he was good enough to post a decent time trial speed, but only if Rudeman races in. And you see
look at
David
all that
Rudeman,
stage right getting kicked around.
right there, down there at 17. So only if Rudeman races in would Boris Said take the final spot in the field on time trial speed.
Yeah, no, he's doing well for himself. Yeah, he's been involved in.
Mike, a lot of conversation.
I believe he's got like a winery that I know he's been promoting a lot the times that he has been running for other teams lately. But we haven't really talked about that too much.
That's the oil dry. Kevin Harvick's spotter, Billy O'Day, said in the previous caution, Kev, I don't know if you've noticed, but the oil dry this year is different. He's like, how so? He goes, it's a lot whiter, but also it's supposed to help pick up a lot of the synthetic oil that a lot of the teams are using now that we had problems with last year. But they're also saying that it sticks to the windshield. That's exactly what Harvick said. He goes, I'll tell you one thing, it may be different, but it sure sticks to the windshield. That's what Jeff Gordon just said, too.
Yep, I remember that was a big deal when that came in.
How much more of it they're using. The last 2 cautions I've seen, and you can see here on our screen, that's a lot more of the stay dry than they normally would put down. And I'm not sure if it's because it's different, new, or what it is, but they're certainly using more of it.
A lot of cleanup to do, so this field will be red flag. They will stop them on the backstretch. Watch the cover over the lens on the roof cam of Kevin Harvick change.
There you go.
Oh, quite a difference.
And unfortunately, he can't reach out there and change that windshield. The pit crew can pull a tear off. We can change that lens there, the cover over that, but he can't change what he's seeing out of his windshield right now.
Well, there's a lot of dust flying around, Matt, but where's smoke?
Well, he hit pit road, made a stop, and the reason it wasn't anything about the mystery engine issue that they had been trying to diagnose, which appears now to have gone away. It was the top off. They were good to go if the race distance was the official race distance. If we go into an overtime situation, they were going to be in trouble.
We're getting a report also that Travis Quapple, who came to pit road that time, too fast exiting. He'll have to go the tail end of the longest line.
Whole litany of penalties here.
Right now, Patrick Carpentier and Ken Schrader are in the race-in positions. John Andretti, David Rudeman, Jarrett, and McClure trying to move up. There's the field waiting to get restarted. You see the shadow of the DirecTV blimp floating right across the field. They're getting some great pictures from DirecTV today, and you can get the most sports
there you go, Cass. Yeah, there you go.
On DirecTV. Glad to have them with us. Wednesday, Larry's favorite show returns for an all-new season with new rules.
Larry, that's your favorite show. Come on, man.
Don't miss the season premiere of Pink.
Point.
Wednesday at 9 Eastern as part of
Drop the Rag
on Speed.
I just know somewhere, somehow, some way Hammond's going to get his hand in that deal some way.
That's a good look at the 60th anniversary logo on the A pillar there of Kyle Busch's car.
Wow, look at the vision issue that Kyle Busch has to deal with through all that speedy dry on the tear off. Let's check with Steve.
Mike with Paul Andrews, crew chief for Michael Waltrip. Question is, Paul, I heard Michael say the
Paul.
car is perfect. He loves his race car. Will you guys go for the win, or will you sacrifice that to help Dale Jarrett get in the 500?
Well, right now, still the plan is to help Dale Jarrett. We got Rudeman back there right now, so maybe the two of them can work together, and we can still work up front. You know, we'll just have to see how it goes. But we definitely want to help Jarrett get in the race, whatever it takes there.
All right, thank you, Paul. Let's go to Dick.
Kenseth has run toward the front for this entire event. His crew chief is Chip Bolin. Now, we know you're fast. What's going to take to win this thing?
Not wreck.
That's a good start.
That would be. Loose, and he's just trying to keep it in control out front and keep the speed and keep his position. We should be just fine.
Now, you've got some experience here at Daytona. Are you comfortable in this new role as crew chief?
Yeah, I got some pretty good support over here to my right, too, so we'll be just fine.
Michael's
good luck today. Matt.
Michael Dye's collection here of diecast on the Twitter feed here. Very nice.
Box, a great jumbotron behind you, so you've got all the views. What have you and your team learned so far during this duel?
We've learned the speed week's been a little more exciting than we were looking for, but I can't say enough about everybody at Hendrick Motorsports, the guys in the DuPont Chevrolet. It's been great. We brought a car down here for the shootout, performed well. This car ran well in single car runs, and it's driving real well here today. So hopefully we can back up Mr. Hendrick's record so far this week.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mr. Hendrick, right alongside here, for you, able to breathe a lot easier?
Oh yeah, man. It's just so much pressure, and then to come down here but him to win those first two races, the first race, but then, yeah, Feels a lot better. Feels a lot better today anyway.
He is batting 1,000, a pole, a duel, and a Budweiser shootout.
Yeah, Steve is like, he's not shouting loud enough.
In this race.
He's saying we're going to get cars, they're going to go around the track, and the car needs to turn and make the corner, and then he's going to turn again in the next corner.
The field for the 150s are set placing 18 of the top 35.
Oh, Sean, right on. You were there at the race. Very exciting.
In the other.
In the entrance to pit road. Well, here we are in the closing stages of race 2.
Seeding to put all of one team's cars.
Should have some interesting moments coming up here.
Works out that way based on last year's point standings and then on time trial speeds.
What do you say? We get back to what we came down here to do.
Would that be to race?
Let's go racing,
boys.
got it.
You got it.
Dadgum.
Dadgum, gotta go racing.
Patrick Carpentier and Ken Schrader are right now in the transfer spots. You can
40 minutes here left of the broadcast here for those of you scoring at home.
John Andretti.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. We got 78 viewers here. Very exciting. Well, thank you all for stopping by. Am I going to watch Kansas City luck their way into another win in Sunday Night Football? No. So I'm going to watch this. And that was the plan. So big thanks to our Patreon for suggesting this race. We're going to do another poll in the Patreon soon. If you'd like to join the voting for that, if you join for as little as $1 to patreon.com/LastCarOnBrock, you can join that as well. Make sure that you also subscribe to Vody's channel. We're watching his version of the stream here in beautiful HD. So we'll enjoy that for this evening. Green flag. Who's my favorite to win the Daytona 500 next year? Tough to say. Is this going to be finally the year that Keselowski breaks through, or Ryan Blaney? I don't know. I mean, you've seen Bowman get jilted last year. I mean, maybe he was just one move away from actually being able to pull it off there. Tough to say. Tough to say. I always like looking at the entry list before making a firm determination of that. But Penske certainly ended the year as strong as they did. And if they're picking up where they left off, yeah, I'd probably look at Logano and Blaney.
Jeff Gordon hung back on that restart, and that left Michael Waltrip a sitting duck all alone out front.
Yeah, that's the bad thing about getting a big jump on a restart. See it time and time again. You're just a sitting duck, and man, they
Jeff Gordon.
Put him back in the
Gordon would
field.
have a savage wreck at Las Vegas just a couple weeks after this, hitting another unprotected wall there.
In what is now the Sprint Cup Series.
Kenseth looking very fast a year before he would win the Daytona 500, and for the first time in 09 in a backup car.
Backing up here just a little bit to see if he can
Great shot of just, again, how rough the track is. I know it gets described a lot, but you can really see it here.
He knows he's going to start on
Massive
the outside
difference.
front row. He needs that 44 car in the Daytona 500.
And there's Rudeman and Michael, all three of them right together. So we'll see what they can do as a team. Work together here a little bit. In the meantime, back at the ranch,
Kyle Busch.
Thank you, Sean. Yeah, anybody's interested in the Patreon, we do have perks there as well. We're going to be sending out new stickers in 2025 for our returning members as well.
And you know what, Mike? There were two big questions from the media over the course of the all season. Well, how
stickers, die cast. We got like all kinds of fun little stuff there that we have.
Tony Stewart and Kyle Busch was going to get along. You sat down with him. I think you're pretty convinced.
And looking to add some new perks down the line too. I need to think of some other stuff here. I wanted to do something for Black Friday. We didn't really have anything much prepared. I had something with the stickers that I worked out with, but we'll figure something out. I wanted to do something with the books, but Amazon didn't really allow me to do anything, at least not with the print books, which is unfortunate. But we'll figure something out.
That they could be doing, what they normally do and get themselves in trouble.
Harvick down to the bottom. Mark Martin comes with him. Casey Kane backs up a bit.
Oh boy, he's going to get, there you go. Mark Martin got in line just in the right spot there, and Kane dropping back. There comes Super K.
The 34 car, he would be the car on the outside looking in. And Michael Waltrip has found his two teammates back there of Dale Jarrett in the 44 and David Rudeman in the 00.
I remember watching this race at home, and I was recording it, and my recording was nowhere near as clear as the Bodie's right here. But setting that went over to my brother's apartment because he was in college at the time, and watching it at his apartment there, so I could bring him up to speed. That was fun. That was fun. It's kind of made an evening out of it. Good times. Good times.
Something like we did in that first race with 8 or 9, 10 laps to go. These guys have made their last stop.
The question, Darrell, not fuel, but it could be tires.
I bet you we don't have an issue in this race. I just don't think we will. I might be a little optimistic, but I don't think we will.
More and more rubbers getting down on this racetrack.
This always works that way.
Coach Gibbs, late of the Washington Redskins, and now back full-time with the team that he founded and which his son J.D. runs.
Yeah, because this thing's so fast, it's pulling the draft a half a second faster than anybody else.
Yeah, Kyle Busch giving a taste of the promise that he would have in 2008 right into the playoffs, where things went sideways, and
sucked the guts out of him.
Jimmy Johnson and Carl Edwards were a bit too much for him.
Some of the fastest laps of this race was run within the last 3 or 4 laps by most all these cars in the lead pack.
Yeah, look at that. You got like a leading draft in the high lane, and you got like a 2 wide pack hug in the bottom.
Now it's to be a level
very
of
interesting
amongst this group, though. Don't seem to be quite as racy as our first crowd.
Well, in that front pack of 10, there's only 2 go-homers, Carpentier and Schrader, and they're in right now. So no need for them to make a move. Tony Stewart is in 11th, trailing this pack, and pretty much all by himself. Now the second pack is starting to catch up Stewart.
They are starting to get lined up in a single file, and I think you're going to see them work their way right back to that lead group as we've got 25 to go.
I wonder what Dale Jarrett's saying about his car, Steve.
DW, I haven't heard Dale Jarrett, but what we do know is that Michael needs to be behind DJ because DJ's car won't pull up. He needs to get a push for Michael, and that's why the 55 is behind him.
Yeah, Michael's, I don't know, Michael's scheme and Rudiman's scheme are probably my 2 favorites from this. It's really tough to say. If I had to pick one, probably Waltrips, but I mean, I'm kind of leaning towards Rudiman now the more I'm thinking about it.
And Carpentier and Schrader are
definitely
not moving from that outside line draft. Now Stewart and Mark Martin have caught the leaders.
Pretty impressed with the 10 car right now, Larry.
Oh, Schrader in the sucker hole.
Experience at this kind of racing, and he's doing what he has to do at this moment anyway. If he just doesn't get rattled when he get up there and get to racing with him.
And he was the only Dodge to qualify in the top 20 on Sunday.
Boy, Schrader just got shuffled back, and Jarrett has moved up.
I think that 55 car will stay right there where he's at these remaining 24 laps.
I'm sure he'll want to, but we'll see if that's possible.
There may have been a method to his madness getting that big lead on that restart.
You know, he told me, he said, I'll do whatever we got to do to get Dale in it. We do not want Dale Jarrett to miss his last Daytona 500.
Oh, right on, Sean. Did you send me that video already, Sean? I'm not sure.
Everything but our cars to make it happen.
And you know what, Darrell, last year was one of the few races that Michael Waltrip Racing had.
I think you might have mentioned something on that.
So Carpentier and Jarrett have the 2 transfer spots. That leaves Ken Schrader on the outside looking in.
Or you sent me pictures. I think you sent me pictures before.
When Michael got in trouble off of 2 that time, lost some spots there, and Dale got away from him. So, but Dale's back up in the draft now where he's got other cars behind him.
But the car right behind him is Schrader, and that's the car he's racing, the 49.
Yeah, maybe Waltrips. Maybe Waltrips is the one I would go with. It does look rather nice. Rudiman's, it looks good from the front. From the side, I'm not as crazy about it because it looks so similar to Dale Jarrett's.
Yeah, I don't. There you go.
I see what they're going for. They're looking for a similar
I don't really think
design, but yeah.
We're going to know how this is going to shake out because it really does depend on how the tire wear is.
And if the Tony Stewart fans were concerned about him way back there in 11th spot, no worries. Stewart has worked his way right up to 4th.
I just believe this package that they have here.
Well, yeah, record-setting penalty, no kidding.
With the wicker bill on the roof and all, where the guys have got some acceleration. You hear these engines, he's feathering out right there, but he's not losing any time because he's got enough throttle to get back. Here comes Dale Jarrett.
Oh, those of you who are in my Patreon, I'm just double checking this here. Patreon.com/LastCarOnBrock. I did start a new poll just this evening for a new second starting grid video in 2025. I will be doing the Daytona 500, but whenever we reach a certain goal, like every $100 in the Patreon there, we reached that just recently. Thanks again to the new members that have joined. We then do a poll as to let everybody pick which starting grid I'd like to do for 2025 Cup, Xfinity, or Trucks. We have the nominees already on there, and we have 8 votes already. So we'll see which one's going to be.
The other owner. Lays in deep concentration right now.
Schrader's coming, and Schrader's got the spot.
There we go. Schrader looking very good in this race.
Kevin Harvick, Jeff Gordon fighting for
That's right,
second.
Sean. You did send that. I need to watch the video, but I think I've seen the pictures, but I haven't seen the video.
Jeff does
But
not
thank you.
have a lot of help on that
I'll have to check that
outside
out.
right now. Denny Hamlin about 3 car lengths back in the 11.
Yep. Can you say no, friends?
Ooh, Stewart's. Wow, there we go.
Stewart wants to lead in this race.
Probably the least famous Stewart paint scheme. That orange and black just doesn't quite work as well. I know that it kind of looks like Dick Trickle's Schneider auto part, the Schneider car, but it's just not very good.
Getting wadded up right there, though.
Schrader has a goal to race in all 50 states before he's done. He runs about 100 races a year. There's a little track in Rhode Island called Barnyard Speedway, and it truly is that. It's not open to the public. It doesn't run regular races or hours.
Oh, Flagman Graphics, thank you very much. Yeah, next 500 days is still in the works. We have another episode. I've recorded the next episode for Martinsville. I have not edited out the outtakes and put the clips in yet. That'll be the next video I work on after I finish the next episode of 500 or Rise of the Field fillers.
Coming off turn 4.
So I kind of have like, what I'd like to do is have at least one other script recorded. So I'm kind of working on that. That's kind of been my new goal here, so that I always have something that's in the works that's much closer to being finished, rather than stack everything up for one thing to get finished from start to finish. So yeah, so the next 500 days, probably not this month. I would say maybe next month or in February. That'd probably be the next one. But we're very close. It's been recorded, so we're much further along than we would ordinarily be. But I would say that would probably be a January or February release. So stay tuned on that. It depends how long it takes me on these other scripts. I have a couple other scripts that are very close to being recorded, and I'd love to get those in the chamber so I can kind of have those in the background too.
Goes where it looks like the line's coming. He moves to the low side, he moves to the high side.
Yeah, if you had a graph on him, it looked like a jigsaw puzzle.
But what a sight there. Look at that 29 car on the inside, and look at the Army car. Kind of deja vu from our Daytona 500 a year ago.
And look who's right in behind them.
Transfer spot battle again. Jarrett has the spot.
Ooh, stack up in the high lane. Yikes.
I think that 20 car
completely.
is really not handling that great right now.
Yeah, that didn't help at all.
I know he's hanging in there, but boy, I see him jacking on the wheel a lot.
Well, Schrader not giving up. He's still slotting in the line and trying to get back up there.
17 laps to go. Harvick wants the lead of this race in that 29 car.
So now it's Jarrett in the transfer spot and his teammate Rudeman.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about the orange and black Stewart scheme. My favorite was still his rookie paint scheme, just that orange and white with the angles. I remember that was very easy to draw back then, when I used to like do doodles of like, you know, the cars and the paint schemes back then. That was always a fun one to do.
The beautiful thing about what we're seeing here this whole
But yeah, he
week
ran that, what,
is
99 through 2001? Very nice paint scheme.
Different guys can get the lead. Some guy will dive to the bottom and take the lead. Somebody will slingshot around the outside and get the lead. Lots of really good racing.
16 laps to go. Kevin Harvick out front.
Oh, very nice, Austin.
13 laps to go.
That
Not
sounds
much has
cool.
changed.
You know which team he does it for?
Lost his wingman. Michael Waltrip has fallen back to 7th place, leaving Jarrett to go it alone up there in that.
Let's see if they can go the last 13 laps without a commercial break.
But you got to remember something about Michael now. He does not want to get his car in jeopardy because that's a front row car. You sure don't want to have anything happen to that bad boy. So
Jarrett up to
he's
third.
playing it pretty darn smart.
Right. I mean, he got Jarrett up to third and said, okay, you're on your own.
He did what he had to do, and now he's just got to take care of his own stuff.
But right now we'll be coming to 12 laps to go. Dale Jarrett,
They got
David
shaken out
Rudeman,
again.
They would be the transfer cars.
John Andretti challenging Rudeman.
Ooh, he's catching up on him big time. Wow, what a run.
Get back up there. I'm back here to help you now. Get back up
I
there.
could barely read that signed, sealed, delivered on the rear TV panel there at Jarrett's car. It's like those taillights are too big. I think you can make it top to bottom since all those words about the same size.
Dale Jarrett, he'll have a look up at his mirror right there.
I mean, I could see it here, even looking at this little screen.
Come help me.
Where you at, Mikey?
But you know what I
Help
like?
me.
How steady
Help
he
me,
was.
Michael.
That steering wheel, he wasn't jacking on it. He looked very, very confident and
Don't go to my outside, Michael.
Jarrett and
Don't do
Ruben are in
that.
the 2 transfer spots
You're gonna open the hole for Dennis.
That's good news for Boris Said. Then John Andretti, Kenny Schrader,
Is
Patrick
your audio
Carpentier.
weird? Uh-oh. Hopefully it's not
And
on
there
my
those
end.
cars are right there,
It sounds
the
okay
10,
over
the
here. Is anybody else's
49,
audio weird?
In the 34.
I don't know if it's just Sean's audio or this here. It seems like it's okay. I'm sure I'm not standing on a cable or something.
The 00. Not by coincidence, the same number that
Yeah, they do have the
Dan
same
Buzzy
base, Caddis. Yeah, that's great.
ran with the blue roof and the big red 00 slanted on the side and modified tracks all up and down the East Coast for many, many years.
18 wiggled his way
Sounds
back
okay?
out front.
Okay, good.
With the help from
Yeah, I'm
his
sorry,
teammates,
Sean. I don't know what's going
he's
on
still
there,
got
but
20.
must be something.
Jeff Gordon in the 24
Sometimes it could be a
car
cable in the
follows
headset.
the
I had this where I didn't.
Harvick
This
all the
came
way
loose
back
right
to
next to the
about
plug
fourth or
here because this is an
If you're
interchangeable
Harvick,
cable,
pedaling that thing
and it
just a
sounded
little
like
bit.
my sound card was
That's
just
about
screwed up. Turns
the
out this thing was just
tire
loose. I just
really get
pushed that back in there. Maybe that's what you're dealing with there.
Right now, get 4
Oh, it's on
fresh
yours.
tires
Okay,
this
cool.
thing.
But I definitely think his car is just a little too
I
free.
don't think it's Cale Yarborough the engine noise. Yeah, there you go.
Mark Martin coming with Denny Hamlin,
Crank up the
there,
bass.
and Casey Kane. Then Jarrett with Waltrip and Ruderman.
But Daryl, that's the pattern.
Oh,
I've
your
seen
video. Oh,
here.
right on.
How many times, how many years do we come here and this late in this race, the car would be pushing the nose off turn 2. Sounds like everybody's a little on the free side.
Dennis has worked his way comfortably into contention here in the top 5. Again, also showing what was to come here for a driver that's been so good at Daytona. I mean, Dennis could be. I mean, you're asking me earlier about their favorite for Daytona. You know, as disappointing as this year was in terms of the championship push, yeah, maybe that means another Daytona 500 to kind of shake all that off.
Yeah, Patrick Compartier in that 10 car right there behind Greg Biffle in the 16.
Yeah, there are no
And Kenny
cranking ups in
Schrader
these
the
races. Isn't that too
49
bad?
car Right behind the
Shoot.
10.
Yeah, Domino's was with Ruderman in 07. That was a pretty scheme. I like that one a lot. I probably like that Domino's scheme better than any of these in 08.
Boy, and that's a bad thing because all you can do
Especially
is
on the
you
old
can't hang
car.
on to them when they're loose. You got to lift out the throttle a little bit. You can't get away with that and hang in your position.
Dick, what about Carpentier?
Well, he's a rookie at this restrictor plate racing, but he's got a guy up on top of the grandstand, Keith Barnwell, who is a veteran at it. And Barnwell is telling him exactly what to do, who to hook up with, who not to draft with, where to go, high, low, whatever. And it's an enormous help to this rookie.
Carpentier doing a great job.
But he is impressing me, Larry, with the way he's hanging in there with all these other guys. He's not falling back.
And he's in. He just passed David Ruderman. So Carpentier, number 10, is in the final transfer spot.
Daryl, you know how these cars act much more than I do, and you know how your brother thinks. I think you do anyhow. But it almost looks like to me Michael is doing 2 things.
Pretty cool graphic for the 500 there.
But also trying to run defense a little bit for him.
Yeah, he's blocking just a little bit, and he's trying to keep those guys back so they can't get to Dale because now he knows Dale.
Yeah, 2000 to 2002 schemes. Those, I mean, those cars did look great, Flagman. I agree.
So I think Michael's
Yeah, Twisted Sister is things are getting kind of out of control.
back both.
What was weird about it is 03, they kind of standardized the templates. So they had this very blocky kind of thing, you know, in those cases. At least at the plate races.
And Jarrett did a really good job of that.
But yeah, kind of 03, 04, 05, things started getting weird. 05 through 07, for sure, the Twisted Sister thing was huge. Everybody just kind of had an arms race about that.
Carpentier with a vibration. He said just moments ago it's not going to last till the end. They're telling him, go for it anyway.
Go for it anyway. Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead, Carpentier.
I think he definitely got up there and just got against it.
Here's a look, lower right of your screen from the DirecTV blimp.
Ooh, you got the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no,
Thanks.
that didn't hurt it.
Just a little bit.
Just kissed it.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's narrower now.
That didn't hurt it.
That's right.
I love it.
6 to go.
Oh, crash.
Man,
Kyle Busch just got into Casey Kane.
They're wobbling all over the place.
You see the
Coming down the last 6 laps.
Number 8 of Kyle Busch's 18.
Who will make the 500? Who will not?
While they've been wobbling, while they've been going back and forth, we're watching the transfer
Stewart
spot.
leading.
Tony Stewart, Denny Hamlin, they're up there leading the race.
Here comes Carpentier on the outside. Even with Michael Waltrip, the 44 has the first spot, the 10 has the second. Here comes the 00 to take it away.
Boy, Dale is really, Dale is doing a good job. I'm telling you, his car's a little bit loose, but he's able to get down on the bottom and hang on to it and keep his position. And I'm pretty impressed with Michael. Michael's back there riding.
Ooh, Biffle just got in front of Harvick.
And Michael
almost took both of them
has
out.
a car that could be up there contending for the win right now.
I believe he does, Larry. It looked like the car really is handling good. He can go where he wants to.
Almost looks like he's trying to come back now and pick up David Rudiman. Carpentier was battling Rudiman for that final transfer spot. And I believe he got into the wall again that time in turn 2.
Yeah, that's where you usually have trouble over there off of 2. Car gets to pushing, and you just, the only way you can save it is get out of the throttle, and he is way up there now.
He sees Rudiman just ahead, and that's the car he's got to beat.
I tell you what, John Andretti in that 34 car, he's still holding strong. The black car there right behind Kenton. 4 to go.
Here we go. Yeah, they are all over the place. You're right. Yeah, Ross Chastain fan. Those tires are gone. They are absolutely searching for any kind of grip out there. It's kind of like the wet tire race at Loudon earlier this year. They're just searching for anything.
Was going to have a win. It would probably come out of that Gibbs camp, and it would probably be smoke.
Yeah, the rookie classes in that era were very lean, I would say.
A non-U.S. manufacturer went to victory lane in what's now the Sprint Cup Series was 1954.
Tell you, Michael's little crowd says, "Look, if you want to pass Dale Jarrett, you're going to have to pass 3 cars to get to him."
Oh, the Patreon. If you're interested, Flagman, it's patreon.com/lastcaronbrock. LASTCAR on BROCK.
Yeah, I think he used up his stuff.
If you check out my Twitter feed, or I think it's also linked here in the YouTube page there as well. And yeah, I got perks for members. Oh, he got in the wall. Carpentier in the wall that time. There it is. Thank you, Ben.
Say the caution will fly. Yep. Caution will fly. So this is going to come down.
You're all clear and nobody, only one coming behind you. Only one coming. All right, you're on the bottom right there.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Eric, Connor. Good question. Something catastrophic. Oh, but speaking of catastrophic, terrible break for Carpentier.
Come to pit road. Who's going to stay out?
I remember him missing this race. That sucked.
Carpentier, he's just
it just
you
blew.
saw the right front go.
Wow.
I mean, I think that's why he was hitting the wall, pushing up off of 2 over there. That right front was worn out, and it finally just blew on him.
Probably the best ride he ever had for Daytona, unfortunately.
I'll tell you one thing, these
got
restarts,
kind of shuffled
now,
out.
anything can happen on a restart.
Darrell, of all the open wheelers that have come to NASCAR recently, I think Carpentier probably embraced drafting and Daytona the best of them.
See Bobby Kennedy there, that's over in Michael's pit, so they didn't want to see that caution. I think they were pretty happy with things the way they were.
But here's what's interesting when I talk about
man,
who will come
savage
to pit road
damage.
and who
Wow.
will not. If you take Michael Waltrip out of the equation with what happened to the 10 car here, we only have 4 go-or-go-homers racing for those 2 spots in this race now.
84 viewers. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Coming down the last couple laps of the 2008 Gatorade Duels race number 2.
From the oil cooler fittings,
it is dire straits for Patrick Carpentier.
Here. And then we're going into overdrive. 2 laps. Green-white checker to settle this.
Well, this could get very, very interesting. I mean, I don't think anybody up there. I don't think Jarrett's got a tire issue. I haven't heard anybody complain about tires. I thought Patrick Carpentier there might have a problem, and he did. I think he wore his right front out, but nobody else seems to be complaining about tires.
2 of the 3 Evernham cars crashed. Yeah, that's right. We had Elliott Sadler have problems in race 1. Good catch.
But you're right, Mike. An awful lot of oil coming out of
man, look at all the damage to the rim. My goodness. To the
pit road
wheel.
will be open. So not so much what
Don't call it overdrive. Yeah, I was wincing a little bit at that too. I'm like, that's right. They used to call it that.
Ryan Pemberton, the crew chiefs for these go-home cars. What will they do? There comes Kyle Busch in the 18 car.
Kyle Busch.
He's going to hit pit road.
And from John Andretti on back.
Well, I got to tell you, be a little bit worried if everybody came and got 4 tires and I didn't, especially when you're near the back of the field. What about it, Matty?
Well, Kyle Busch came on the radio, D, and said he had a vibration in the right rear, did not want to take a chance. We'll take a look at the tires that comes over the wall. Yep, you can see where the tire was starting to separate right on the edge of the tire.
Yeah, Patrick just murdered the right front of the car. Yeah, he did. Man, that was pretty bad.
Following our
so much harder hitting it looked from a distance.
We had the 2 Toyotas of David Ruderman and Dale Jarrett stay out. John Andretti and Ken Schrader in the
put down more stage high. More. So much more.
Time for a bit of cleanup. 59 of 60 laps complete. We're going into overdrive, folks.
Overdrive. This will be a good shot. They show it. Nope, they won't.
The Gatorade Duel at Daytona on Speed is presented by Gatorade. Is it in you? Brought to you by Shell. Shell.
Man, the sound quality is so good. You can hear the music
in your engine. Shell made to move. And by Toyota. Moving forward.
Had a good bit of attrition in this race.
Yeah, you think?
Eric McClure, Blaney, Burton, Villeneuve.
Yeah.
Murray, Stan Barrett, Dario, a lot of cars out.
Yeah, we're running out of cars, Daryl.
Cars left in this race.
Because of all the oil that was dropped by Carpentier's engine, you saw that oil cooler leaking as he came all the way around. We're under the red flag for cleanup. Meanwhile, Patrick is with Dick Berggren.
And what a brave drive for this young man here. His first ever start of the big super speedway at Daytona. How rough was it trying to hang on to that car when you had the vibration?
It was, you know, we had the same thing yesterday in practice, and I kind of knew the tire was going there, start to push a lot, and the front stopped responding and start to get a vibration. I was just riding the wall up the top there. Hit it a few times in the last 4 or 5 laps, and I was hoping that it was going to last to the end, but it did not.
Did you know disaster was imminent, and if so, where did you get the courage to keep your leg in that thing?
Yeah, I just thought, you know, I'll stick as close to the wall as I can so the hit won't be as hard if it fails, but you know, it's too bad. The Valvoline number 10 was so good. The car was good, and I had a lot of help. Robbie Gordon was coming down to help me there at the end, but I had so much push. I just couldn't keep up with the guys, and I was hoping to do a couple more laps, but didn't last all the way to the end. But we'll keep working. You know, we'll go back to Fontana, and we'll keep digging.
You did a nice job today. We'll see you next week. Steve?
Dick, been listening to the radio communication between Michael Waltrip and Dale Jarrett, his driver. And I'll paraphrase here, but Michael told Dale, listen, we have got your back.
That was last year, Rebest as sponsor rookie of the
past
year? I didn't even think about that.
David.
Good catch, Ross.
Wow.
Well, that's pretty strong.
And right now, the way they'll line up for this 2-lap shootout, David Ruderman in the 00 car is in 10th, and John Andretti in the 34 car, one of the cars that came to pit road, will line up 14th. Ken Schrader is actually going to be about the last car back in 15th.
Yeah, look how big the track is compared to just those few cars that are left.
Even
My
during
goodness.
the red flag. Tony Stewart has a little fun.
What's happening? Not really. We'll see. We'll see.
Brett Bodine, former driver, driving the pace car.
Just very casually be like, what's happening, man?
Here's Matt.
Well, Mike, when you're in an overtime situation,
Here, I need to
you
step
can
away
see the
for
speedy
just a
drive
moment. I'll be
truck
right back for the finish
going
here.
Down the asphalt. Mark Robertson, the spotter for Tony Stewart, I think has come up with what the real story is for Speed Weeks 2008. It is, after all, he said, the 50th Daytona 500, so they wanted to make everybody think that it's old school in an old way. He said they changed the color of the speed drive, so everybody thought that they were actually racing at the beach. I hope he doesn't quit his day job.
Jeff Hammond.
Mike, what I'm sitting here thinking, it's gotten a lot cooler from the speed box here. We're really noticing a big drop in the temperature and everything like that. The track temperature's got to be getting a little bit cooler, so it should be a little more grip in the racetrack. So my way of thinking, if I'm the crew chief right now, I want to be talking about the fact that, hey, driver, you know, those old tires, they're going to cool off a little bit. They're going to get a little bit better grip. So we should be okay on this green-white checker scenario. So, you know, just hang with me. We're going to be okay, especially if I'm Jarrett's crew chief. I'd be kind of like trying to pump him up a little bit and let him know maybe this weather will help benefit those old tires.
Well, the other thing about old tires now, Jeff, remember this. These engines have quite a bit more horsepower. And you get that speedy dry on your tires, and you come around here and you buzz those rear tires, you could be in big trouble here. So, like always on a green-white checkered, the most important thing for that driver is to get up through the gearbox without any problems.
Speed Weeks, of course, is only about half over. Friday night right here on Speed. Tomorrow night, another season of hard-nosed racing. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series begins at 7:30 Eastern tomorrow evening, right here on Speed.
Got a pretty good
on the
little
street says they don't play very nice.
No, they don't. We've got a pretty good little old trackside coming up too.
Yes, we do.
So if you want to see some of the legends of the sport,
really
might want to tune in.
Who you gonna have
okay,
we're
back.
Buddy Baker,
Cale Yarborough.
Look who is pawing at the door, wanting to be a part of the show. Oh, there he is.
Wow. I think Freddie Lorenzo.
I get to it, Badgie.
I'd buy a ticket to see that.
It should be good.
And you don't have to buy a ticket. Just come out there or tune in to Speed.
Come hang with us.
Dick Berggren.
Oh, he's kind of hooked into
we
my.
got a little
oh,
racing here before all that happens, and we're eavesdropping, listening to Mark Martin. And here's the quote: "Tell that 44 Dale Jarrett to stay with us. We'll work really good together. Two veterans
today.
Looking forward to hooking up together.
There we go.
See if one of them can win this thing."
I don't think there's anybody out there that isn't willing to help Dale Jarrett get in this 500.
Well, see, Dale Jarrett makes the 2008 Daytona 500.
Not going to be back here. This is
well, we will find out.
So, and
very
he's a
soon.
Winner. We'd all like to see him finish up his career here at Daytona with a good run.
I think a lot of that's respect for Dale and for the entire Jarrett family. They've meant so much to this sport ever since its formative years. Dale's dad, Ned, a two-time champion.
Yeah, thank you. This is
Kevin Harvick to the list of
this
those
is one of
willing to
our
help Dale Jarrett.
rowdier chihuahuas here at the house. His old Badger.
To Dale Jarrett, and Dale said, "Well, tell him thank you. I'll talk nicely about him on TV if I make a race."
Method to the madness. Thank you, Steve. I knew there was more to this story.
A lot of lobbying going on down there.
It does. That's kind of cool.
No, there we go. Yeah, we move.
I mean, last year, even Kevin Harvick
move that
said,
there. Let's try
oh
this
my gosh,
here.
I beat Mark Martin. Everybody's going to hate me. You know, Kevin was doing what he had to do.
Slapshoes
Trying
still
to get to
does.
the finish line first and won the Daytona 500. But fellas like Dale Jarrett and Mark Martin, for what they've
Does he
done
like
in
Dale
this
Jarrett?
sport
I don't
and
know.
the way
I don't know. I'm not sure if he's watched
themselves
one.
on and off the
He's
track
sitting
have just earned
very
the
comfortably here
respect
now.
of everybody in that garage area and everybody in that lineup right there.
And this is not like they got their hand out expecting anything. This is people coming. They're not going to people and saying, "Will you help me?" This is people coming to them and saying, "We will try to help you if we can."
Now, John Andretti's a veteran, and Ken Schrader started on the front row here several times, and they are going to try to get into the Daytona 500 as well.
Joey Griner, yep. We are absolutely, I am absolutely still making 500 Days episodes. The next one for Martinsville has been recorded. I still need to take out the outtakes and start dropping the clips in and everything. Probably a January or February release at this rate, depending on some other scripts I'm going to be working on here. But the next video that's coming out is going to be next episode of Rise of the Field Fillers on Competitive Edge Motorsports. Made good progress on that. I'd love to get it into the Patreon this week if I can, and then have it for everybody's access before Christmas. That's what I'm aiming for. So we'll see how it goes.
We were just talking about that at break.
And you know, guys, where we're sitting in our speed
Hey, who doesn't like Dale Jarrett? I was not a Dale Jarrett fan, especially when Ricky Rudd was driving as his teammate. I was definitely more partial to him.
So
Jarrett was just too
he's
good.
Gonna restart 12. No way he's going to finish there.
No, I don't think so. And if I'm going to quote Larry Mack, you better pull them belts one more time.
Yeah, you know, I think it may be the only car here that can go 3 wide all at one time.
You got it, driver. You got it.
I mean, he hops from one lane to the other. I'm telling you.
Now, there's Kyle Busch in 12th. The other two Gibbs cars are running 1-2. What's their strategy, Matt?
Mike, they were conversing underneath under the red flag just about their strategy. and the fact that they felt like Gordon would try to
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. This will be our first postseason stream. We may do some other watch-alongs. We'll also do some, we'll just do some regular streams probably along the way too. I know there's plenty of news stories coming up. Got Ryan Ellis bringing the 71 back to the Xfinity Series, a number that Ellis has run in his earlier career, which is exciting.
3 times.
Other teams that may be popping up in the circuit next year.
With those 4 fresh tires, and he'll have about 5 miles to try to get it done.
Saw Jeff Gordon do it last year. I think he may have had a couple of more laps to come from way back to win it, but he did it last year.
The rules for overdrive are pretty simple. They'll wave the green flag. If they don't have
good question, Flagman. My plan is, with 500 days, is to end each episode with the next Cup race. So I'm not planning on skipping any races through the summer stretch. I'm planning on keeping that going. So that would probably be a different one.
Second pack is hanging back a bit.
Oh, I appreciate that, Joey. I'm glad it's something relaxing for you.
Maybe they'll get a run. Let's see here.
Trying to time.
71 car in Xfinity, Javier. Yeah, the 71 car for Ryan Ellis. The DGM car is going to be for that. All right, here we go. Overtime restart.
So not only is he going to have to get that back, he's probably going to lose some position. He missed the timing of it.
Well, what happened was Tony brought these guys all the way down here. I mean, you could
Jackrabbit
start way
back
here, but he brought them way down here to the start-finish line and really bottlenecked up everybody.
Well, Tony didn't want anybody hanging back on him.
Boy, and Hamlin just put a big block on Jeff Gordon, I can tell you that.
So where are the go-or-go-homers? Now, there is Kyle Busch alongside Greg Biffle, and they are racing for 11th. Here comes Hamlin.
Comes Dennis.
Into turn 3. He's got help from Jeff Gordon in that 24 car, as well as Casey Kane.
This is probably Denny's first great run at Daytona. Well, besides winning the Clash in 2006. Ooh, Stewart tried to cut the block. It didn't work.
He's not going to be happy about that.
Jarrett's going to be still right up there.
The leader is a sitting duck.
Like the chances.
Well, I don't know. The top 2 got away when it was Sorensen and Jr.
One to go.
Nobody close to Jarrett. He will race his way into the Daytona 500. Look at
there we go.
29 helping Stewart on the outside.
I think this race isn't over yet. Here comes
you're right, Dave. Yeah. Thank you for tuning in, by the way.
Chevy, Toyota,
double file restarts would have definitely helped
Here comes Stewart up to help the 11.
And here comes John Andretti.
John Andretti in the 34 car. Remember, fresh tires. He drives by David Rudiman in the 00.
There you go. Front Row Motorsports trying to get in their first 500.
And he might just make it, Larry. He has come from nowhere. Look at that thing go.
Right now he's in, but there's still 1 mile to go.
I tell you what, if John Andretti gets in, this will be the feel-good story of qualifying for the 500.
Denny Hamlin wins it. Dale Jarrett is in. John Andretti is in.
John Andretti almost beat Dale Jarrett. That shows you right there what 4 fresh tires will do for him.
Fantastic. Great effort for John Andretti. First time. See, look at that 34 car. Same thing as the Love's car today.
One thing better than 4 fresh tires, 2 good teammates.
Full time in the 2009 season, got that team's feet under it, and that's where they are today. Now full timers still in the series. Great effort.
That's Dale Jarrett to his spotter, Roman Pemberton. And Denny Hamlin will go to victory lane.
For the first time in a Toyota in Sprint Cup.
He made a great move over there. He blocked it. Jeff Gordon off of turn 2. That gave him a shot.
Yep, 2008. We're going way back in the time machine here.
On you, he was going to move.
No, you did right, man. You did exactly what you needed to do, bud. You guys did a great job. Enjoy it.
Thank you, Smoke.
Thank you. That's sweet right there.
Yep, that was Tony Stewart to Denny Hamlin.
Oh, you're welcome, Big G. Thank you for tuning in. We'll stick around for the post race here, and we'll do a brief wrap up here at the end, and that'll probably be it. It's already been almost a 3-hour stream. We got about 5 minutes of post race here. I'll do a little bit here at the end, and that'll be it.
A team that probably didn't even feel like they
great job, John Andretti. Look at that. Plain black car, barely any sponsor for the Makoto
and Larry, you just
company
gotta
there.
say that maybe, just maybe, this car is paying off the fruit that they said it would. You got the cars from Denver in, both of them. Those are cars that really had a long shot, and now you got this 34 car in.
Even in the playing field.
Even up the playing field some, I can tell you.
Michael Waltrip happy. All 3 of his cars are in the 500. And John Andretti, whose uncle won the Daytona 500 in 1967, makes the race.
Yeah, Dennis spinning Chase Elliott definitely changed things, Charles. You're right.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
An amazing Gatorade Duel finish.
Cheer it,
Coverage is
still
brought to you
cheer
by
it.
DirecTV. NASCAR Hot Pass only on DirecTV puts you behind the wheel. Electricity, emotion. If you walked away, you won't believe how it ended. Steve Burns is in Victory Lane.
Thank you, Krista. Denny Hamlin climbing out of that number 11 Toyota. Delivers the goods here to Victory Lane.
Yay, Dennis, yay.
Denny, how important was that victory to the overall success of this speed?
Yeah, I think it is. I couldn't remember if it was like knives or like salad dressing or something like that.
Backup engine, and yeah, that's what it's all about. Is that team right there? They did a great job preparing this car under me, and everyone at FedEx Express back in Victory Lane at Daytona.
Yeah, sure, Austin, we're good.
Get Toyota's first win. I couldn't be happier.
Congratulations, Denny. Good luck Sunday. And Tony Stewart told him congratulations, Matt.
And here is probably the feel-good story, or one of them so far here on the day that locks you in. Congratulations, DJ.
I'm trying to remember if they actually interviewed
We'll see you Sunday.
Yeah, thanks
Andretti.
a lot. I appreciate that. And, you know, this day, as much as people say about Dale Jarrett, this is about UPS and Michael Waltrip Racing. That's who I wanted to get into the Daytona 500, and they let me piggyback along. So yeah, I've been fortunate to have such a great sponsor in UPS over the years. I really wanted them to be a part of this one, and certainly I wanted to be a part of the 50th running of the Daytona 500. And now we got the hard part over with. We'll go to work on this baby and see if we can make it, tune it up a little bit, and see what we can do on Sunday then.
They had a game plan coming in, had a bunch of friends on the racetrack, and the three-time Daytona 500 champ will be racing on Sunday. Dick.
Well, the other great feel-good story
There he
is
is.
Andretti, who raced his way into
There's
the
our
Daytona
hero.
500 in a car that had never even been to the wind tunnel. How much of a long shot was it for you to get into this thing?
Well, I just want to congratulate Dale Jarrett. It's great to see him in the Daytona 500.
He wants to congratulate you, too.
And, you know, I'm just really proud of this team, what they've done. Bob Jenkins, you know, it's his first Daytona 500. My dad's here. So I'm really excited. I'll be at your soccer game Monday, though, Jarrett.
Congratulations to you.
And it certainly was a fight to the
How
finish.
exciting. It'll be so much fun to do
Gatorade
interviews like
Duel
that.
On speed. Let's head back up to the booth and get some final thoughts from Mike, Larry, and DW.
Well, a lot of folks had teammates in that final run. John Andretti did not, but you'll see him on this list. The front row set on Sunday for time trials. From row 2 on down, that's the finish.
And then at this point, I was starting to put together the starting grid video that's on this channel here. So yeah,
and Jimmy Johnson.
Definitely some memories there for sure.
Dale Jarrett races his way in. You see him back there in the 10th row with rookie Sam
Hornish Jr.
Kenny Wallace, John Andretti raced their way in. Brian Vickers also
Regan
a
Smith
racer,
makes
and
it.
a great story, recovering from a lap 2 spin and a late pit stop to make it into the race. Now all these drivers are in on top 35 car owner points from 2007, and the 2 cars in on speed are Joe Nemechek and David Rudiman. Kurt Busch takes the champions provisional. Those who are disappointed, boy, there's a long list. The Wood brothers have been in all but 2 Daytona 500s. Ken Schrader has started 23
Look at that. Yeah, you can have a pretty good race between those guys.
Everyone since 1985. But
Yeah,
he won't
Super
make
K
this one.
and Elliott and Marlin.
Morissette, who had to wait till the checkered flag fell in lap 2 to find out, he's also headed home. There's always
I keep
those
thinking
who
that
are
Boris made
disappointed,
this
but now
one,
we
but
turn our
he
attention to
definitely
Sunday
did not.
And what will happen in the Great American Race?
I just think well, these are preliminary events for Pete's sake. The Bud Shootout, today's race is 150 miles. We've seen so much. We've seen strategy. We've seen tire strategy. We've seen teammates work together to get their cars in the field. We've seen the little guy succeed. Wow! I can't wait for Sunday.
But we know who the 43 guys and teams that will race in the 50th annual Daytona 500. You always like to start up front, but based on what we saw Saturday night in the shootout and today, it doesn't matter where you start, because you know what? You can pass with these race cars.
Just let me in the field.
And one other thing, the slingshot's back. If it comes down to overdrive in a green-white checker shootout, you don't want to be the car restarting out front anymore, it appears. Krista?
And guys, we also have personality, power plants, perfection. You've got Dale Jr. going for the hat trick here at Daytona, all the Motorgate drama. It's going to be a huge Daytona 500.
Big turnaround for the Wood
is.
brothers there for sure.
Today, maybe Valentine's Day, you saw people giving the love to one another as far as teammates are concerned, but you also saw a lot of broken hearts. I mean, Mike has already talked about it. The guys who had to go home after working all winter long to get here, the money that was spent, all the hard work, basically, and there's a lot of broken hearts, but yet it's going to be a great 50th run in the Daytona 500. We can already see that.
Absolutely. Some folks got a Valentine, but now we shift ahead to the Great American Race. The field is now set, as one driver put it, it's the opportunity of a lifetime. It's the race that can define a career. NASCAR's biggest prize will be awarded in just 72 hours, and you'll see it live on Fox, 2 p.m. Eastern. The Gatorade Duel on Speed has set the stage. Victory Lane is next.
Well, and there you
the
go.
year was 2020.
Oh, hang on. There we go. All righty. Well, there you have it, folks. The 2008 Gatorade Duels set the grid for the 50th running of the Daytona 500, as they mentioned, and with Jimmy Johnson and Michael Waltrip on the front row, and Dale Jr. And Denny Hamlin pulling off the wins in the duel races. John Andretti getting Front Row Motorsports into their first ever Daytona 500 start. Dale Jarrett makes his last before he would retire in the after the first 5 races of the year and running the All-Star race in May for Michael Waltrip Racing. And the driver lineup kind of shuffled there at Michael Waltrip Racing the rest of that year. And then, seeing a lot of big names miss the show. Seeing Schrader and Elliott and Marlin miss the race. Stanton Barrett eliminated from what was a very strong car that got involved in an accident. But just a crazy weekend. And all of this in the first ever effort of the car of tomorrow, passing another test very early on, where there was a lot of, just curiosity about how these cars are going to handle. And much like Darrell Waltrip was mentioning at the end there, you could pass with this car. Definitely a different experience, I would say, from like 2013 with the Gen 6 car, where they had a lot of concerns about it, even after those duels with a much shorter entry list there. So I hope you guys enjoyed it there for sure. I certainly did. Had some good memories to back to the beginning of the starting grid videos there at the same time. And again, definitely check out Vody's channel, which is where that video was being streamed from there. He has tremendous content there on that program. So definitely make sure you check out his stuff. Other great content on there as well. Dave W., I saw you here in the stream. Also is another one of the great people here that does a lot of great archiving here of old footage from these races. And definitely check them both out. Make sure you subscribe to them as well. And so at any rate, that will about do it for the stream for this evening. And we got our little special guest right here. I'll bring him up so you can see him a little better here on camera. There's Badger, our little guy down here. So I'm going to have to put him back in his bed downstairs there. But for now, that will about do it on this. We're going to do another stream. We'll do some other streams over this off season here, whether it's going to be race watch-alongs or just a regular news update here with this border. We'll do some conversation on that. I know we're a little light on talking about the news here tonight, but we can jump into that there down the road. So keep an eye out for my Twitter feed at LastCarOnBrock. Patreon is patreon.com/LastCarOnBrock. And of course, here is the YouTube channel, and the LastCar.info website is still at that location there as well. On behalf of myself and Badger here, hopefully we'll do another stream before the holidays, but just in case we don't, have a wonderful holiday season. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year as well. And we got a very exciting 2025 season coming up, both in terms of content here on this channel and our trackside coverage as well. Next episode of Rise of the Field Fillers on Competitive Edge Motorsports will be the next produced video on this channel, and that will be coming up here very soon. So stay tuned to all those connections there for that as well. So again, have a great week, everyone, and I'll see you all next time.